Black Clover, the son of fire dragon Igneel. Chapter 1. Brilliant sunlight bathed the vast mountain range, painting a golden landscape, yet the young boy's heart was far from bright. He was about 10 years old, with handsome features and black hair cascading over his shoulders. Despite his youthful appearance, his face bore a worry that belied his age. He wore only a dark red dragon scale patterned scarf over his upper body, but already showed the beginnings of muscle definition. Drake, let's duel. I'll beat you today. The boy sighed. He heard the challenge from behind, but had no desire to move. He tilted his head, easily dodging a small fist aimed at him. The boy named Drake was quick. Hey, I told you. Natsu, you should learn your lesson. Drake raised his arm and punched the other boy in the face. I lost to Drake again. The cherry-haired boy's eyes swirled like dizzying spirals before he fell backward. He quickly jumped up, pointing at Drake. Someday I'll surpass you, Drake. Remember that. After issuing his threat, the cherry-haired boy saw Drake raise his fist again and fled. Ha! 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 Natsu's still so energetic. A booming voice echoed from above, but Drake showed no alarm. The shadow that had enveloped Drake shifted. The thing blocking the sun wasn't a tree or a mountain, but a gigantic creature. Upon closer inspection, it was a massive dragon with red scales, sharp teeth, and claws. This dragon had been shielding Drake from the sun with its body. Drake sighed. Igneel, you shouldn't spoil Natsu so much. You need to be stricter sometimes. Igneel, the dragon, chuckled in a human-like voice. Don't be so stingy. Aren't you and Natsu both growing up wonderfully? Drake shook his head with a smile. He agreed with Igneel. After all, he knew exactly what kind of person Natsu would become. Natsu's full name was Aetherius Natsu Dragneel, the protagonist of this world. This world was the world depicted in the manga, fairy tale, which Drake had read in his past life. Drake was, in fact, a time traveler. While his past life as a worker had its share of hardships, he couldn't describe the sheer panic of opening his eyes to a gaping maw only to find himself an infant. Luckily, the owner of the gaping maw was an intelligent and rational being, a dragon that only existed in fantasy. Even luckier, this dragon was one of the most benevolent towards humans. Drake was raised by a dragon, so he didn't have to worry about choosing a new name right after his arrival. Upon learning the dragon's name was Igneel, Drake realized which world he was in. Sure enough, when Drake was 3, Igneel had another child, a cherry-haired boy, by his side, the world's protagonist, Natsu. Incidentally, Drake's full name in this world was Drake Gildorm, meaning, son of the meteor. According to Igneel, Drake appeared before him with a falling meteor. Drake's body was also extraordinary. Of course, a time traveler would have a cheat code. Besides his knowledge of the plot and exceptional psychic abilities, Drake possessed a constitution that could absorb all magic without being affected, like the ocean encompassing all water. In other words, Dragon Slayer magic wouldn't have the dragonification side effect on Drake. That's why Igneel confidently taught Drake Dragon Slayer magic. Unlike the young Natsu, the more mature Drake learned more magic from Igneel and his later teacher, the spatial magic Anna Heartfilia. Therefore, Drake was much stronger than Natsu at this point. Since Natsu started learning Dragon Slayer magic, he had challenged Drake 616 times, losing every single time. But Natsu showed no discouragement. It's true to his hot-blooded protagonist nature. Igneel lowered his head, and the young Drake instinctively leaned against him. The dragon and boy fell silent. After a long time, Igneel broke the silence. Time is running out. Drake was silent for a long time before speaking in a trembling voice. Is there no other way? Igneel didn't answer, but his silence gave Drake the answer. It all began with Acknowledge, the Dragon King, a dragon slayer who had completely transformed into a dragon. Originally human, Acknowledge was driven by hatred after being betrayed by the dragons he trusted. He cultivated Dragon Slayer magic, intending to exterminate all dragons. As his dragon power awakened and he slaughtered more dragons, he eventually transformed completely into a black dragon, losing all human emotion and reason. He had become a true embodiment of destruction, a dark wing that devoured light. Some people realized that Acknowledge would eventually threaten the world's safety and that preparations were necessary. Among them were Zirf, later known as the Black Wizard, and Anna Heartfilia, who taught Drake and the other children. Zirf, in particular, having lost his parents and brother to dragons, also prepared to defeat the Black Dragon King. Not only humans, but also a group of dragons led by Igneel devised a plan. The plan was for 5 dragons to teach selected children Dragon Slayer magic. After all, only Dragon Slayer magic could counter dragons. Then, Anna Heartfilia and her descendant, Layla Heartfilia, would jointly activate the Eclipse Gate in 2 different eras, sending these children of hope to an era 400 years later, where magic was abundant. To avoid the dragonification side effects of Dragon Slayer magic, Igneel would use the Soul Dragon technique to enter Natsu's body, creating an antibody to suppress the dragon seed. Of course, this was also to settle the score with Acknowledge 400 years later. Because of Acknowledge's Dragon Slayer magic, all the dragons had actually been killed by having their souls extracted. Choosing to sleep within the children was a last resort. But this meant Igneel would have to part ways with Drake and Natsu, their next meeting being their final farewell. Although Igneel was a dragon, Drake felt his genuine affection for Natsu and himself. He had come to consider him family. Sometimes Drake envied Natsu, who lived without knowing the truth. Igneel sensed Drake's sadness. Don't look so downcast. Igneel extended a claw, touching Drake's chest. I'll always be watching you and Natsu. But it'll be hard on you from now on. Natsu's a bit of a klutz, so I'm entrusting him to his older brother. Drake looked at Igneel and nodded solemnly. The separation was sudden. One morning, when Drake moved Natsu's leg from his own, exiting the cave where they slept, Igneel was gone. Although Drake knew Igneel was now inside Natsu, he couldn't help feeling sad. As Drake felt lost, a blonde woman appeared. Teacher Anna. Drake greeted listlessly. It was Anna Heartfilia, Drake's teacher and the key executor of Igneel's plan. Anna understood Drake's feelings and patted his head. You've worked hard. Anna knew what Drake carried on his shoulders, and she felt even more sorry for her most mature student. Drake shook his head. It's Igneel's decision, and it's a promise between him and me. It's nothing. Drake turned back to the cave, picking up Natsu, who still had sleep bubbles on his nose. Teacher Anna, let's go. Drake said firmly. Anna nodded and led Drake to their destination. Before them stood a massive gate, large enough for even Igneel to pass through easily. The gate was engraved with astrolabes and pointers, looking remarkably grand. The Eclipse Gate, a super magic tool created by Zirf. It uses celestial spirit magic to pinpoint different times and spaces, allowing time travel. Only the 12 strongest golden keys of celestial spirit magic could open it. In front of the gate, 4 other young children were already waiting. Like Natsu, they slept soundly, perhaps due to the dragons residing within them. Anna looked at Drake and the 5 other children. Now, we're going to the future. 400 years into the future. Ouch. 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 Drake rubbed his arm as he stood up from the ground. The fall from the time-space rift had been quite a hard one. If it weren't for his increasingly strong body thanks to his Dragon Slayer magic training, this fall alone would have caused serious injury. Drake never imagined an accident would happen while traveling through the Eclipse Gate. Just moments ago, after stepping into the Eclipse Gate opened by Anna, a magic circle inexplicably appeared around him. At first, he thought it was a normal reaction to passing through the gate, but then he saw the panic on Anna's face. That's when Drake realized something was wrong. Without thinking, he tossed Natsu behind him to Anna, and was swallowed by the magic circle. When Drake could see light again, he was falling from the air, finally crashing heavily to the ground. After a long while, he regained consciousness and stood up, surveying his surroundings. Hopefully, I haven't deviated too far from Natsu's time. A century or 2 difference would give me a headache. Drake's words trailed off. His eyes fixed on a spot, as if he had seen something unbelievable. It was a gigantic skull, the size of a small hill. Its shape was also peculiar. Besides the normal 2 eye sockets, there was a circular depression on the forehead, as if an eye had once been there. In addition, there were 2 huge curved horns on either side of the skull. This couldn't possibly be the skull of a normal creature, it looked more like the skull of a demon god. Drake pinched himself. He thought the Eclipse Gate malfunction would only send him to a different point in time, but it had brought him to another world entirely. The striking landmark made Drake recognize it instantly. He had left the fairy tale world and entered another magical world. This was the world of the black, 3, 4, 5, or countless clover leaves. While, like the fairy tale world, it was a world of magic, the magic here was completely different. In this world, the amount of magic power each person possessed was innate, magic wasn't learned but a birthright. True potential is unlocked at age 15, upon receiving one's grimoire. Indeed, in this world, grimoires were the most important things. The size, thickness, and appearance of grimoires varied from person to person. Grimoires chose their owners, which was the first test of one's magical talent. There were 4 kingdoms in this world, and the core patterns on the grimoires received in each kingdom differed. The main setting of the story, the Clover Kingdom, granted grimoires with a cloverleaf pattern. The number of leaves on the cloverleaf represented the holder's magical talent. Drake was currently on the border of the Clover Kingdom, in Hage Village, the hometown of Asta, the protagonist. Drake sighed, his face full of worry. This unexpected turn of events was completely outside his plans. Even with his mature mind, he felt a bit lost. He raised his hands and slapped his face forcefully, encouraging himself. No. It's too early to give up. Don't forget my promise with Igneel. Natsu is still waiting. Drake quickly adjusted his mindset. He understood from his past life that all difficulties stemmed from insufficient ability. This was a world of magic, and magic represented the power of miracles. Even crossing worlds wasn't impossible. Didn't the magic circle that appeared around him when he arrived in this world prove that? Grr. Grr. Drake, who had just been invigorated, instantly deflated, feeling weak. He hadn't eaten anything since yesterday. Since learning Dragon Slayer magic, his body, transformed by dragon power, had become stronger, but his nutritional needs had also greatly increased. While not like Luffy from One Piece, who would become a dried-up corpse after missing a few meals, Drake felt quite weak when hungry. Touching his empty stomach, Drake dragged his heavy feet toward the demon god's skull. Drake had read the original story in his past life, but he didn't know the specific terrain. He knew Hage Village was near the demon god's skull, but he couldn't find the village. He could only approach the demon god's skull, hoping to meet someone and get some food. The demon god's skull was even larger than Drake imagined, so even though he could see it, he hadn't gotten much closer after walking for a long time. It was a case of, the mountain looks closer than it is. His strength was almost gone. Drake's body was only 10 years old, and even though his Dragon Slayer constitution exceeded that of ordinary people, he was starting to give out. He chose a tree to lean against, lamenting his bad luck. In a daze, he wanted to fall asleep. Suddenly, a sweet smell wafted over, and Drake sniffed, his eyes snapping open. He grabbed the food someone offered and stuffed it into his mouth. It was something similar to a sweet potato, but the taste was far inferior to the improved varieties Drake had eaten in his past life. It was dry and quite hard to swallow due to its high fiber content. But for Drake, who was starving, it was a delicious treat. While wolfing it down, Drake looked up at his savior. The person was short, seemingly the same age as Drake but half a head shorter. He wore coarse clothes, a headband, and short gray hair, with a big smile on his face. Your stomach was rumbling, you must be starving. Drake instantly recognized him. Asta, the main protagonist of this world. The hot-blooded youth known as the Roaring Emperor, by countless netizens. In this magic-centric world, he possessed no magic. Yet, he never gave up on his dream of becoming the Wizard King, a boy who embodied perseverance. He once said that never giving up was his magic. Therefore, he was also a character Drake had always liked. After swallowing the food, though far from full, Drake finally regained some strength. Drake jumped up, saying, "You're a lifesaver. I'm Drake, Drake Gildorm. Nice to meet you." Asta, equally energetic, replied, "I'm Asta from Hage Village. Pleased to meet you too." Drake couldn't help but marvel at the loud voice, even at such a young age. Asta said, "Drake, where are you from? I've never seen you before." Drake replied, "I'm from a faraway place. This is my first time here." Asta's eyes sparkled. "Drake, you're traveling alone at such a young age. That's amazing." Asta thought Drake was a lone traveler, and Drake didn't correct him. A traveler was more believable than a time traveler. So Drake said, "Well, I plan to stay here. Please take care of me." Time flew by. 5 years had passed since Drake decided to stay in Hage Village. He had finally reached the age of 15, the age when one receives their grimoire. While unsure if traversing the Eclipse Gate had affected his actual age, Drake patiently waited until his body matured to 15. From his understanding, the reason for waiting until 15 was that a person's magic power wouldn't fully mature until then. Grimoires chose their owners. Attempting to receive the highest tier 4-leaf Clover grimoire with half-developed magic power was impossible. What frustrated Drake most was this world's lackluster approach to magical knowledge. The existence of grimoires had steered the development of magic down a path that prioritized individuality. Perhaps it was because Hage Village was remote, a neglected backwater with no famous mages. The lack of magical information was normal. Powerful mages rarely emerged from the impoverished lower classes outside of major cities. Therefore, for the past 5 years, Drake had focused on honing his Dragon Slayer magic. He hoped the grimoire he received would meet his expectations and provide a way back to the fairy tale world. Sister Lily smoothed out the wrinkles in the drying sheets, a smile on her face as she basked in the bright sunlight. Suddenly, she heard a commotion. Without guessing, she knew Drake was back. Every time Drake returned, it was the happiest moment for the children at the church. She still remembered being shocked 5 years ago when Asta had brought a child and asked Father Orsi to take him in. Father Orsi, the stubborn but kind old man she knew, had agreed to take in the homeless child. The child named Drake was far more mature than his appearance suggested. He was thoughtful and considerate. The Hage Village Church also served as an orphanage, its income primarily from village donations. But in this border village, residents were generally not wealthy, so the church always struggled. The children, still growing, often subsisted on wild taro. After Drake joined, Father Orsi had decided to cut back on expenses, but the next day, Drake disappeared. That evening, Drake returned carrying a huge wild boar. These wild boars, while not magical creatures, were so fierce that even lone adults avoided them. Only mages capable of using real magic could handle them. Yet, a 10-year-old child had managed to hunt and bring it back to the church. It was unimaginable how much power resided in that small body. Since then, Drake would go hunting every few days, always returning with plenty of game. He not only provided the church with ample meat but also valuable hides and other parts, significantly increasing the church's income. However, Father Orsi, worried about Drake's safety, ordered him to hunt only at intervals. Therefore, each of Drake's returns meant a period of relative prosperity for everyone. Curious about what game Drake had brought back, Sister Lily went to the front of the church. As she stepped out, she saw the boy surrounded by children. Sister Lily was immediately taken aback. The wild boar Drake was dragging was one thing, but he was also carrying a huge tiger on his shoulder. The tiger was over 2.5 meters long. Even with half its body on Drake's shoulder, its tail dragged on the ground. However, its eyes were closed, its tongue hanging out, clearly dead. The children looked at the beast Drake carried, both afraid and curious, wanting to approach but hesitant. Drake tossed the tiger to the ground, smiling. "Don't worry, everyone. I've already defeated it, it won't hurt you. It's getting cold at night, even though it's spring, so let's make a blanket out of this." Drake, really? Rekka grabbed Drake's clothes, her face full of anticipation. Drake crouched down and patted her head. "Of course, when have I ever lied to you? Drake is so kind. So cool." Rekka's face flushed, steam almost rising from her head. Every time she saw Drake's smile, she felt a little dizzy. A boy named Nash snorted. "Don't be silly, don't wipe your nose on Drake." Drake chuckled. Nash's awkward personality was a classic case of tsunere. But a little boy being tsunere wasn't cute. Rekka bristled, turning to glare. "You jerk, Nash, I wasn't wiping my nose." Sister Lily came over. "You too, no fighting." Sister Lily looked at the tiger on the ground, worriedly addressing Drake. "How did you encounter such a large tiger? Are you injured?" Drake flexed his arms, showing off his muscles, smiling. "Don't worry, I'm very strong, I don't get injured easily. As for this guy, he tried to steal my prey, so I took him down too." Before Sister Lily could speak, Rekka chimed in. "That's right, Drake is super strong, a mere tiger is no match for him." As they spoke, a familiar voice called from afar. Draw. K. From quite a distance, Drake hadn't even seen Asta, yet his voice was clear. After the voice, it took over 10 seconds for Asta to run up, kicking up dust. Asta, upon seeing the tiger, glared at Drake. You defeated such a beast. You're worthy of being my rival. But I won't give up. Nash scoffed. Don't boast. Drake's not someone you can compare to, you magicless oaf. Not over. Not finished. As if ignoring Nash, Asta shouted and ran towards the demon god's skull. Drake smiled. He knew Asta relentlessly trained his body at the demon god's skull. It was remarkable that he could hone his body to this extent without any magic power. A young man in simple black clothes approached, looking at Asta's back with Drake. What a hopeless idiot. Drake sighed. You know, it's time you were more honest. The young man was the other protagonist of this world, Grinbarial, raised in the church alongside Asta. Compared to Asta, was more like the typical protagonist. Handsome features, exceptional talent, noble birth, he had all the makings of a protagonist. Was a prince from the Spade Kingdom, having fled to the Clover Kingdom due to a rebellion by the Dark Triad, possessed by demons. Being royalty, possessed powerful magic from birth, so it wasn't surprising that he received a 4-leaf clover grimoire. Later, not only gained the favor of a wind spirit but also unprecedentedly obtained a second grimoire. His power-ups rivaled Asta's. Young was shy and introverted, admiring the outgoing Asta. Asta had once bravely retrieved Yuno's stolen magic stone necklace. At that time, Asta said, "We're rivals." Perhaps misunderstood the meaning of rival, but his whole personality changed, from a meek boy to a cool, stoic one. His attitude towards Asta was particularly cold, often sarcastic. But Drake knew that valued and trusted the magicless Asta more than anyone else. In his heart, truly saw Asta as his rival. That's why Drake said wasn't honest. Didn't respond, only saying, "Father told me to tell you that the grimoire bestowal ceremony is about to begin. Get ready." Drake's spirits immediately lifted. This was it. Not only would he receive his grimoire, but the world's plot was about to begin. Asta and were also 15 and would receive their grimoires, taking their first step toward their dream of becoming Wizard King. March, the season of dancing dandelions. Every year, all 15-year-olds in the Clover Kingdom gathered at their local grimoire towers for the grimoire bestowal ceremony. This ceremony not only granted them their grimoires but also offered a rare opportunity to enhance their magic power. Of course, the quality of the grimoire received and the amount of magic power enhanced depended on individual talent. To reiterate, this was a magic-centric world. Everything was intertwined with magic. Almost all professions required magic, even farmers working the fields used magic. And countless people dreamed of becoming magic knights. There was more than one grimoire tower. Father Orsi took Drake, Asta, and to the grimoire tower in their region. Along the way, Drake saw many young people entering the cylindrical building. Sunlight streamed through the clover-patterned skylights, illuminating the interior. The circular shelves held thousands of grimoires, their exact number was impossible to discern. Before such a vast number of grimoires, Drake felt insignificant. These weren't ordinary objects, they housed magic power. Drake, with his exceptional magical senses, could clearly feel the immense power, like a constellation of stars. Amazing. Are these all grimoires? Asta's expression of astonishment was straightforward, but his loud voice drew attention. Drake frowned, hearing the whispers around them. He had heard similar whispers countless times during his 5 years at the Hage Village Church. They were being judged based on their background, their status as lower-class citizens, their futures and dreams being questioned. Asta, who couldn't use any magic, was a local celebrity, mostly due to ridicule. This is infuriating, Drake muttered, and a surge of flames erupted from him. But it wasn't fire, it was Drake's immense magic power, so potent it manifested as raging flames. Unbelievable. As Drake finished his sentence, his magic power erupted unrestrainedly, the fiery magic intensifying. Though not real flames, everyone in the tower, including those who had mocked them, felt the intense heat. The grimoires in the tower trembled, as if shaking under Drake's magic power. The air thickened, making breathing difficult. Only the church group, whom Drake deliberately shielded, maintained their composure. Everyone else was bent over, crushed by the pressure. Except for one person. The grizzled grimoire tower master, high above, raised his head, his eyes visible from beneath the brim of his pointed hat, gazing at Drake in astonishment. Such immense magic power, this boy, incredible. Drake sensed the powerful yet calm magic, like a still lake, and looked up at the old man. Another hidden master. Drake thought, bowing to the tower master before retracting his magic. The tower master smiled. Unexpectedly polite, aren't you? He descended on his flying carpet, activating amplification magic. Welcome to the grimoire bestowal ceremony. May your paths be filled with honesty, hope, and love. I am the grimoire tower master. In this region, we haven't had a wizard king, nor anyone who's joined the magic knights and achieved great deeds. I hope among you, someone will become the wizard king. The tower master's words ignited hope in everyone's eyes. Since the first wizard king defeated the demon god and saved humanity, the wizard king had become a legend, a dream for all. Asta, though not shouting about it, held a firm resolve in his eyes. Even the usually stoic Yuno showed a hint of excitement. Suddenly, the tower master adopted a dramatic expression, shouting, I'm serious, no joke. His gaze fell on Drake. In his opinion, this boy could become the wizard king. Clearing his throat, the tower master regained his composure. Then, the grimoire bestowal ceremony begins now. As he spoke, grimoires glowed, flying from the shelves toward the young people below. Everyone eagerly examined their grimoires. Some were large, some thick, some small, a wide variety. Those who received grimoires eagerly planned their futures. The two who had mocked Asta most earlier received 3-leaf clover grimoires and discussed the magic knight entrance exam in 6 months, sounding supremely confident. Then, a voice rang out. My grimoire isn't here. Asta knelt, hands raised as if to catch something. But his hands were empty, no grimoire had landed. The tower master had never encountered this before. Well, try again next year. What? Asta's face fell, making everyone laugh. What's this? Amazing. Hilarious. Unbelievable. Then, a light shone, capturing everyone's attention. Within the light, a grimoire slowly rotated, revealing its cover. The tower master, whose eyes had been half closed, opened them. That's a 4-leaf clover. The demon god's skull was near Hage village, and those near the statue of the first wizard king were familiar with it. The grimoire in the first wizard king's statue had a 4-leaf clover pattern. The book landed, and Yuno caught it with a stylish pose, announcing, I will become the wizard king. While Asta's pronouncements were often met with ridicule, Yuno's declaration, with a 4-leaf clover grimoire, felt believable. Everyone cheered. Amidst the cheers, an even brighter light appeared, rivaling Yuno's 4-leaf clover grimoire. It also had a 4-leaf clover pattern. No one could believe they were seeing 2 4-leaf clover grimoires in one day. Drake caught the grimoire. He didn't look at the 4-leaf clover on the cover but turned it over to examine the back. It bore a strange emblem, a dragon with outstretched wings in a spiraling pose, partially encircling a lush, ancient tree. Oddly, the tree wasn't green but black with silver dots, like a starry night sky. Drake recalled Igneel's words. Listen, Drake. A powerful force sleeps within you, surpassing even dragon power. If I had to describe it, it's the power only gods possess. One day, that power will awaken. Don't let it cloud your judgment. Hold fast to your beliefs and keep moving forward. Upon receiving the grimoire, Drake understood the power Igneel spoke of. Worldly power. It was the power granted by the world itself. Drake opened the grimoire. Blank pages filled with magical script. In this world, grimoires displayed the magic a mage possessed. The appearance of text meant new magic had been created. Besides learning magic, grimoires responded to powerful wishes, creating new magic, provided the mage had sufficient power. As Drake expected, the first spells weren't Dragon Slayer magic but New World magic. 2 spells appeared, satisfying Drake. The first was Worldly Protection, a constant magic. Drake had thought his immunity to Dragon Slayer side effects was a cheat code, it was merely one effect of this magic. Encompassing everything, the fundamental nature of the world. Worldly Protection also synchronously enhances magic power and physical abilities, effects increasing with training. Grants the ability to interfere with any form of energy. Drake favored the second effect. Demons from the underworld were unaffected by normal magic. Only underworld magic was effective. With worldly protection, Drake's Dragon Slayer magic would work on demons. This applied to other worlds too. 6 Paths level characters in Naruto, Logia-type devil fruit users in One Piece. Drake could fight them without learning Sage Mode or Haki. This led to Drake's second world magic. World travel. Used to traverse worlds, Drake's hope of returning to Fairy Tail. Naturally, it required immense magic power, far beyond Drake's current capacity. But he had a goal, he just needed to grow stronger. The grimoire turned, revealing Drake's Dragon Slayer magic. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist, Fire Dragon's Wing Attack, Fire Dragon's Sword Horn. Fire Dragon's Roar. Dragon Slayer Secret Art, Crimson Lotus Exploding Blade, Dragon Slayer Secret Art, Uncontrolled Fire Style, Crimson Phoenix Sword. Even spells Drake had envisioned but couldn't create due to limitations appeared, fulfilling his wishes. Drake closed the grimoire. He noticed the astonished gazes around him. Without making a declaration like he simply smiled at the church group. Asta, still kneeling, stood, turning to them. Drake. Wait for me, I'll catch up soon. We're rivals. Silence, then uproarious laughter. A magicless person claiming to rival 2 4-leaf clover mages was absurd. Unbelievable. Remained emotionless, walking past Asta. Drake chuckled. Didn't believe Asta hadn't been chosen, but it sounded dismissive. Drake felt a chill down his spine, a sense of malice. Narrowing his eyes, he looked at a tall, thin man's back. He knew the malice came from him. Drake had lost sight of Asta for a moment. Being 15 and failing to receive a grimoire was a significant blow, especially for Asta, who dreamed of becoming the Wizard King. Not receiving a grimoire meant he hadn't even taken the first step. However, given Asta's personality, this shouldn't have affected him much. He wouldn't care about the ridicule. Nothing anyone said would shake his dream. Asta's strong reaction was due to Yuno's unintentionally hurtful attitude. However, the tsundere worried about Asta, lingered nearby. After seeing the church group off, Drake went to find them. Drake remembered encountering Revchi Salik, a member of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, a user of chain magic. Revchi Salik's chain magic was a type of creation magic, creating and controlling chains that restricted an opponent's physical strength and magic power. Revchi Salik had been exiled from the Magic Knights for failing a mission and had become a ruthless thief, using money to achieve his ends. This time, he targeted and Drake's 4-leaf clover grimoire. Once a grimoire was bestowed, it bonded with the mage, seemingly worthless to others. But some had peculiar interests. Some nobles were willing to pay exorbitant prices for 4-leaf clover grimoires as collectibles. Drake understood their interest. The difference between 4-leaf and 3-leaf clover grimoires wasn't just in magic power or spells. The 4th leaf held luck, a force beyond magic, linked to fate, a mysterious power. Therefore, obtaining a 4-leaf clover grimoire required not only magical talent but also something more mystical, a blessing of fate. 4-leaf clover grimoires were considered lucky charms. It wasn't surprising that nobles desired them. Though Drake knew Revchi Salik would fail, and Asta would later obtain a 5-leaf clover grimoire, beginning his journey to his dream, he still worried. Drake didn't assume his memories of the plot were absolute, he didn't want to regret any unforeseen events. As he turned to find them, 2 men blocked his path. Hey! You're blocking my way. I have business, so can you move? Drake sensed their malice and spoke bluntly. Their hostility increased with his attitude. How arrogant. A mere commoner, don't think getting a 4-leaf clover grimoire makes you superior. I see. Drake stroked his chin, remembering who these minor characters were. They were minor nobles from a nearby city, the ones who had mocked Asta most. In the original plot, they tried to destroy Yuno's grimoire out of jealousy. But this time, they targeted Drake. Drake wondered if they hadn't realized the difference in strength. Did they think, having received grimoires, and Drake having a 4-leaf clover one, they could defeat him? Jealousy was terrifying, it warped their minds. What disgusting faces, Drake muttered. The blonde noble lost control, his grimoire opening. It's too late to beg for mercy. I'll burn you and your cursed 4-leaf clover grimoire to ashes. Ignoring his companion's warnings, he launched a fire spell at Drake. Fire magic. You should choose your opponents wisely. Drake opened his mouth, the flames rushing in, consumed entirely. What? The noble's shocked expression replaced his malice. He ate the flames. Within moments, Drake had devoured all the flames. Wiping his mouth, he said, "That was awful fire. But it boosted my power. Since you came looking for trouble, you should be prepared." Magic power, hot as fire and heavy as a mountain, erupted from Drake. The noble felt a hallucination, hearing a terrifying roar from Drake's magic, as if a monstrous beast was within. His legs gave way, collapsing, trembling, only able to stare at Drake in terror. Drake scoffed, abandoning the idea of fighting. His dragon slayer magic wasn't for such weaklings. He sensed magical fluctuations nearby, Yuno's magic and a strange power. Revchi Salik, unlike the nobles, attacked Yuno first, as in the original plot. Drake turned and left. The noble gasped for air, the encounter feeling like a nightmare, a trauma he might never overcome. Drake reached Yuno and Asta, but didn't interfere. A legendary moment was unfolding. Asta leaned against a wall, Revchi Salik on his shoulders, revealing a harsh truth. Asta had no magic power. He couldn't use even basic magic, let alone become the Wizard King. It wasn't the usual ridicule, it was a cold, cruel truth, leading to Asta's despair. Drake sighed. Revchi Salik's magic was decent but insignificant compared to Asta's future opponents. Yet, Revchi Salik did something that elf reincarnates, demon possessors, and even underworld demons couldn't. He made Asta feel true despair, his first and last. From then on, Asta never gave up. What pulled Asta from despair was Yuno, bound by Revchi Salik's chains, shouted, "He can't become the Wizard King, I will. But he's not a loser, Asta, he's my rival." Though not encouraging, these words invigorated Asta. Revchi Salik, unaware of the change, said, "Huh. He's your rival." He wondered if he'd misheard or Yuno had gone mad. Before he could speak, a hand grabbed his leg. Not over yet. Asta raised his head, his despair gone. "Sorry, Yuno. For showing you my pathetic side. Wait, I'll defeat him." Sensing something, Revchi Salik backed away from Asta. A tattered black grimoire descended, hovering before Asta. 3-leaf clovers represented honesty, hope, and love. The 4th held luck, the 5th, a demon. The 5-leaf clover grimoire emitted ominous black magic. Drake saw the grimoire and Asta's shadow merging, forming a demonic silhouette behind him. The grimoire opened, a large broadsword emerging, landing before Asta. Asta grasped the sword, as if seizing his future. "This is my magic." Asta pointed the demon slayer sword at Revchi Salik, his voice firm. Drake whispered, "No, never giving up is your greatest magic." Without Drake's intervention, Asta defeated Revchi Salik as in the original story. Revchi Salik was a mediocre opponent. Asta defeated him with a single blow. Asta, having just received the 5-leaf clover grimoire, hadn't unleashed his true power. He relied on the demon slayer's sword. It wielded the sword magic of the grimoire's previous owner, the elf king Licht, not the anti-magic of the inhabiting demon. Asta could only use a trace of the anti-magic imbued in the sword. True mastery required unlocking his black form, achieved by becoming one with Revchi Salik. Drake was curious about the magicless demon who developed anti-magic due to his hatred of demons. The following days were uneventful. Asta and Yuno trained rigorously for the Magic Knight entrance exam in 6 months. Asta honed his swordsmanship near the demon god's skull, while Yuno's firewood, chopped with wind magic, formed a small mountain near the church. Their efforts were for the Magic Knight entrance exam. In the Clover Kingdom, only one organization protected the nation and maintained order, the Magic Knights, directly under the Wizard King. These 9 specialized mage groups were the ideal destination for all mages. The system of King and Wizard King felt familiar, reminiscent of the Daimyo and Hokage systems. However, the royal family and Magic Knights were more closely linked. The royals possessed powerful magic and held many high positions within the Magic Knights. Joining the Magic Knights and accumulating achievements was the only path to becoming Wizard King. Both trained intensely. The exam had few restrictions, anyone 15 or older with a grimoire could apply. But passing the Magic Knights exam wasn't easy, the courage to participate was a significant filter. Not everyone had Asta's unwavering determination. Self-awareness sometimes helped the timid find comfort. With the church members' farewells, the three began their journey to the capital. Hage village was remote, far from the capital. Walking would take a considerable time. They arrived in the capital the day before the exam. Drake, having seen modern cities, wasn't impressed by the medieval capital. He appreciated the exotic atmosphere. Asta, however, showed immense curiosity, constantly exclaiming in wonder. His unreserved display of his rural background was unusual. Passers-by were unsure whether to express disdain. The Clover Kingdom was rigidly class-based, divided into 3 levels. The first was the royal capital, where the king and nobles lived, the walled castle area at the capital's center. The Wizard King and Magic Knight's headquarters were also there. The second was the commoners' district, where the 3 currently were. The third was the outer region, where Hage village was located, inhabited by the lower class. Asta looked at the royal capital castle. Does the Wizard King live there? Yuno said, probably the king too. Drake chuckled. They treated the king as inconsequential. The impoverished king was indescribable. Asta confidently declared, one day, that will be my castle. Yuno retorted, mine. Asta, seemingly ignoring Yuno, said, I'll let Yuno live there too. And Drake. Yuno, rarely smiling, replied, that's my line. Drake stroked his chin. I'll benefit from this. You two better work hard. As they walked, Asta spotted something and ran off. Drake saw him at a food stall with charcoal fire and grilled skewers. The vendor was a squinting old woman, seemingly ordinary. But Drake felt like he was staring into an abyss. Seeing Drake's daze, Yuno patted him. What's wrong, Drake? Drake smiled. Nothing, just saw an amazing person. Yuno was confused, but Asta returned with grilled snake skin, and Drake left. An old woman. Who would feel so ominous? Perhaps the former Wizard King was having a magical encounter. Drake guessed. The old woman looked at Drake's back. Discovered. Another remarkable child this year. I wonder what magic they use. The 28th Wizard King, Julius Nova Chrono, anticipated meeting unknown magic. The exam location was easy to find, a large, arena-like building. They arrived relatively early and registered. When Yuno and Drake presented their 4-leaf clover grimoires, they felt the intense stares. Even the registrar smiled. But Asta's grimoire was almost dismissed as not a grimoire. As in the original, Yuno received number 164. Asta's number 165 went to Drake. Asta was 166. Everyone entered. Black birds descended, surrounding the candidates. Some had many birds, others few. Look at those two, none. Someone pointed at Yuno and Drake. Everyone marveled. Yuno frowned, confused. Drake explained, these are magic avoidance birds, a test feature, they gather around those with low magic power. This is the first test. Yuno nodded, understanding. Asta suddenly said, Yuno, let's see who becomes the Wizard King. The legend begins now. But Asta was struggling, others had a few birds, but Asta had over 10. One even nested in his collar. Who could attract more birds than a magicless Asta? As in Hage village, laughter erupted. Asta ignored it, his problem was the birds, enthusiasm, making him look pathetic. Ouch. What's with these birds? Get away from me. Fleeing, Asta bumped into someone. The birds, as if seeing something terrifying, flew away. As Asta breathed a sigh of relief, a hand grabbed his head, lifting him. I'll kill you, brat. The man exuded a dark aura. A tattered black cloak, a bull skull emblem. Drake instantly recognized the muscular man smoking a cigarette, Yami Sukahiro, captain of the Black Bulls, the man known as the Destroyer. While Drake observed Yami, the onlookers explained what the Black Bulls were. Drake looked at them, confused, who were they explaining to? Yami, the true main character, possessed remarkably powerful magic. Asta and Yami's antics continued, and Drake enjoyed the spectacle. It wouldn't hurt for Asta to become familiar with the future captain. When Asta tried to escape Yami's grasp, Drake saw Yami's expression of surprise. He understood Asta's physical condition and the extent of his training. While Yami threatened to kill Asta, he wouldn't actually do it in this setting, probably. As Yami counted down to the last second of Asta's supposed lifespan, magical fireworks erupted, signaling the start of the exam. Yami released Asta. Kid, lucky to be alive. Cherish it. He and his squad members left. No one paid attention to Asta anymore. The 9 Magic Knight captains had arrived, taking their seats. Sek Bronziza, with his peculiar speech patterns, approached Asta, introducing the captains. He wasn't being kind. The exam wasn't score-based but an interview, results depended on performance. After the exam, if a captain was satisfied, they'd raise a hand. No hands meant failure. Sek planned to use the seemingly weak Asta as a foil to make himself stand out. The 9 captains were unique. Asta's commentary never stopped. Asta and Yuno focused on the man in the center, wearing an ornate mask, the Golden Dawn captain, William Vengeance, the most likely next Wizard King. Vengeance stepped forward. Candidates, I'll be conducting the exam. He opened his grimoire. Green magical light shone. Magic tree descent. Drake looked up. Branches sprouted from the sky, transforming into magic brooms. Magic brooms were basic magical tools used for flight, common transportation for mages. But Vengeance created hundreds with a single spell, showcasing his power. The branches delivered brooms to everyone, demonstrating incredible control. The closest to the Wizard King, Asta and Yuno, holding brooms, looked at Vengeance, their eyes burning with ambition. While they dreamed of becoming Wizard King, they lacked a tangible goal. Vengeance's display provided one. Drake took a broom, looking at Vengeance. His magic power hadn't diminished, he was terrifying. Perhaps his other reincarnated elf soul played a role. That elf was also chosen by a 4-leaf clover. Drake sensed Vengeance possessed the strongest magic among the captains. The others were at a similar level, only Vengeance slightly surpassed them. The brooms were part of the first test. Using them required magic power and control. The skill demonstrated basic ability. Drake, though inexperienced with brooms, had superior magic power and control. He confidently flew. But, a miscalculation. Drake was like a limp fish hanging from the broom. Ah. This is transportation. Dragon slayers notoriously feared transportation. World magic didn't remove the side effect. Ah. Drake was flustered. His dragon slayer fear of transportation was uncorrectable, even with world magic. It was a curse. Ha 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 ha, what's with that kid? Hilarious. Yami laughed, slapping his thigh. Fugolian Vermilion, captain of the Crimson Lion Kings, boomed, is that the other 4-leaf clover youth? Good magic power and control. But, is he unwell? Drake could at least fly. Asta, with a constipated expression, couldn't even move his broom. Drake, relieved, landed. He tossed the broom aside, vowing never to use transportation again. It was awful. The next tests were easy for Drake. Magic power release, shaping, and evolution were effortless. These tests examined different aspects of magical ability. The captains could assess talent and training. Only Asta shouted constantly without using magic. The final test arrived. Vengeance announced, the final test, a sparring match. Fugolian stood. Combat. 2 on 2. Attack each other with your grimoires. Show your strength. Vengeance added, surrender or inability to fight ends the match. Recovery mages are on standby. Fight freely. The candidates discussed. This was crucial. The Magic Knights were essentially military, combat ability was paramount. Poor combat skills meant elimination. Finding a suitable opponent was key. Many searched for partners. A hand shot up, drawing everyone's attention. The crowd parted, revealing Drake. The 9 captains watched Drake, their interest peaked. Except for the first test, where Drake's performance was less than stellar, he excelled in all other aspects. The captains would likely all vote for him. No one wanted to miss out on such a talented individual. Drake's actions heightened anticipation. He stepped forward. For a sparring match, strong opponents are needed to showcase true ability. Only those of comparable strength are true rivals. He released his magic power. Behind him, a fiery dragon formed, roaring, creating a wave of intense heat. The air grew hot. The candidates shielded their faces, retreating several steps before they could breathe normally. Even the captains were impressed. Drake's magic power rivaled that of senior mages in their squads, unimaginable for a 15-year-old who had just received a grimoire. Can someone who can't even stand before me be my opponent? Are you joking? Drake's expressionless face conveyed his disdain. The candidates were exceptional young people from various regions, considered geniuses. Many were nobles, they couldn't tolerate being mocked by a commoner from a remote village. They tried to withstand Drake's magic but had to retreat, let alone stand before him. Drake's show of power stemmed from his frustration. He couldn't stand the world's classism. In Hage Village and the capital, he'd heard, impossible, too many times. It wasn't right. Magic should be beautiful and free. Drake's pent-up feelings erupted. Only one person stepped forward, green magic swirling around him. He slowly walked to face Drake. A smile touched Drake's lips. I knew it. You're not just that, Yuno's eyes held determination. You haven't sparred with me in 3 years. Let's settle the score. Before Drake could respond, a voice interrupted. Wait, don't forget me. Drake turned. Asta's grimoire was open, the demon slayer sword was drawn. Veins bulged on his forehead, but his face was beaming. He stepped forward, matching Yuno's distance, pointing the demon slayer sword at Drake. Drake laughed, spreading his hands. You two are the best. Show me your determination to become Wizard King. Yuno and Asta exchanged glances. Their unspoken understanding was unmatched. They knew Drake had always been stronger. They couldn't defeat him alone. Only together could they face Drake at his full strength. Without hesitation, they attacked simultaneously. The referee was about to intervene, but Yami said, Don't spoil the fun, you idiot. This is interesting. The referee looked at Vengeance, who nodded. It's fine, this shows their true strength. Their magic clashed. Wind creation magic. Swift white hawk. A giant wind hawk swooped at Drake, more ferocious than a real hawk. The captains nodded. Yuno's skill in creating such a refined wind magic was impressive. Fire dragon's crushing fang. Drake didn't dodge, charging toward the eagle. His flaming hands tore it apart. As Drake finished, Asta appeared before him, slashing with the demon slayer sword. When did he get there? The candidates hadn't noticed Asta's movement, only the captain saw his speed. Fast. Did he use acceleration magic? No, pure physical strength. Yami took a drag of his cigarette, his gaze serious. He hadn't expected Asta's speed. Asta's speed and timing were perfect. Drake, having just countered Yuno's magic, could only counter directly. Fire dragon's hook claw. Flames enveloped his legs. Drake spun, kicking Asta. Bang. They separated. Drake backflipped, absorbing the force. Asta retreated several steps. This was Drake's first time fighting Asta with the 5-leaf clover grimoire. Anti-magic was unreasonable. Drake's magic power was easily dispelled, he'd clashed with Asta's blade physically. If not for his Dragon Slayer constitution, he would have been severely injured. Yuno wouldn't miss this opportunity. Wind magic. Wind blades shower. Immense magic power transformed into swirling winds, forming blades that shot at Drake. Drake's arms blazed with fire. Fire dragon's wing beat. The flames erupted, forming giant wings that deflected the blades. Asta attacked again. Asta's anti-magic was troublesome. Even with his incomplete anti-magic, Asta couldn't counter many spells. Combining the flames of my left and right hands. Fire dragon's blazing inferno. Drake hurled a giant fireball at Asta. The demon slayer sword could only cut magic, but even if Asta cut the fireball, the separated flames would still hit him. Asta realized this but had no time to strategize. His rigorous training gave him incredible reflexes, he reacted instantly. He used the sword's back to deflect the flames. To everyone's surprise, he redirected the flames back at Drake. Drake ducked, and his target was the still recovering Asta. I'm scared. I didn't know it could be used like that. Asta's expression showed his shock. Tempest Tower. Yuno unleashed his strongest magic, a tornado that aimed to blow Drake away. Drake didn't budge, he used his magic power to resist the wind. His flames flickered, threatening to extinguish. Clever. Drake realized Yuno had used wind magic to deplete the air around Drake, suppressing his flames. Asta, snap out of it. Yuno called, startling Asta. Shut up, I'm getting serious. Asta slashed through the tornado, aiming at Drake. But his arm stopped, a hand gripped his sword blade. Drake, avoiding the blade, grabbed the sword's back. Asta couldn't break free. Asta, your training is insufficient. Fire Dragon's iron fist. Drake's fist slammed into Asta's sword, sending him flying. Asta crashed to the ground, shattering the stone floor. Useless idiot. My rival. If this is. Yuno said coldly. His grimoire opened, he held a wind-formed longbow and arrow. Asta planted his sword, rising. Black markings appeared on him. Not over. I'll become Wizard King. Asta and Yuno shouted. Drake laughed. I'm fired up. Let's finish this. Drake's face puffed up. A magic circle with a dragon emblem appeared. Fire dragons. Roar. Yuno released his arrow, colliding with Drake's fire pillar. Asta leapt, slashing at Drake. Drake increased his magic power. The magic circle expanded, the fire pillar growing larger. It overwhelmed Yuno's arrow and was about to engulf Asta. Whoa, that magic is bad. Yami stood, hand on his sword hilt. Vengeance intervened. Magic warding ash. Thick tree roots emerged, wrapping around the three, separating them. Their magic was stopped, preventing further damage. That's enough. Vengeance declared. We've seen your strength. The three were released, looking at each other. Drake smiled. It's a draw. Next time. Asta clenched his fist. I'll get stronger. Just you wait, Drake. Yuno's eyes conveyed the same message. Drake leaned against a pillar, watching the matches with a large yawn. He found the other candidates' displays flashy and showy. They used powerful magic to impress the captains, but in real combat, no one would have time for such elaborate spells. Drake could have defeated them before they even started. Perhaps the earlier three-way spar had intimidated them, they weren't performing at their full potential. Or maybe they simply lacked combat skill and training. The matches continued until dusk. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. Candidates with the following numbers, please step forward. Charlotte Rosalie, captain of the Blue Rose Squad, announced the selection process. Captains who wish to recruit a candidate, please raise your hand. The candidate may choose which squad to join if multiple captains select them. If no captain raises their hand, the candidate is ineligible and must leave immediately. Fugolian Vermilion added, if no captain raises their hand, you are ineligible to join the Magic Knights. Nozzle Silva, captain of the Silver Eagles, stated coldly, leave the arena immediately. This made the candidates even more nervous. The judgment began with number 1. Number 32, no hands raised. Number 40, no hands raised. Number 67, no hands raised. Number 78 joined the Crimson Lion Kings, and number 99 joined the Coral Peacock Squad. Yuno, number 164, received votes from all 9 captains, choosing the Golden Dawn. Number 165, stepped forward. Drake stepped forward, meeting the 9 captains' gazes. Like Yuno, he received votes from all 9. Without hesitation, he announced, I join the Black Bulls. What? The captains and remaining candidates were stunned. Why would anyone choose the Black Bulls, known for their poor reputation and often described as a band of ruffians? It was unimaginable that someone chosen by a 4-leaf clover grimoire would choose them over the Golden Dawn or Silver Eagles. Even Yami Sukahiro himself looked incredulous, he hadn't expected Drake to choose his squad. He'd assumed the raised hands were merely expressions of appreciation, not expecting the 4-leaf clover mage to forego a seemingly better opportunity. He quickly smiled, though. Someone who caused such a scene in the exam might fit in perfectly with the Black Bull's unorthodox style. Fugolian suddenly stood. Young man, may I ask your reason for choosing the Black Bulls? Yami, annoyed, retorted, hey. Fugolian, what's that supposed to mean? Are you looking down on my squad? Fugolian insisted, not at all. But this young man is a rare talent, deserving of a brighter future. Yami, sword drawn, shouted, you're clearly looking down on my squad. I'll cut you. Vengeance intervened. Yami, calm down. Fugolian means no harm. Let's hear the young man's thoughts. Drake scratched his head. The Black Bull's atmosphere is more relaxed. Just that. Everyone looked incredulous. Drake was telling the truth. Except for the Black Bulls, the other squads had numerous members, mostly nobles or even royalty. The Black Bulls were eccentrics, but they were straightforward and honest. It was better than being looked down upon in other squads. Yuno joining the Golden Dawn seemed closer to his goal, but gaining their acceptance would require significant effort. Also, the Black Bulls were central to the main storyline. For Drake, simple training was insufficient, Only combat would allow him to grow and gain enough magic power to use world travel. Despite the discussion, the rules were the rules. Number 166, stepped forward. Asta, nervous but resolute, stepped forward. Drake sighed. No captain raised their hand for Asta, despite his spirited performance in the spar. This was a magic-centric world. Magic power was the standard for measuring a mage's potential and future. No matter how determined Asta was, his lack of magic power remained a fact. The captains, all possessing keen magical senses, had noticed this. Only one person stood. Yami, foot on the railing, boomed, "It's obvious. High combat ability doesn't matter. In proven power, no one would choose him. Magic knights need magic power." Dark purple flames erupted from Yami, the power of a magic knight captain, inspiring fear. The arena shook. Yami's magic power had a significant impact on reality. Drake watched Yami intently. He'd sensed Yami's immense power before, but now he felt it directly, understanding the terrifying strength of the magic knight captains. Yami jumped from the platform. The pressure intensified as he approached. Even Asta, unable to sense magic, felt the pressure. His muscles tensed. "Magicless, no one wants you. That's reality." Yami stood before Asta. "You said you'd become Wizard King. You'd surpass us 9 captains. Yet, you still claim that without magic." This was a test of Asta's resolve. No one could lie, any hesitation meant failure. But Asta had unwavering resolve. Asta clenched his fist. "Even if I can't join the Magic Knights, even if I'm ridiculed, I'll become Wizard King." Ha ha ha. Yami laughed, retracting his magic, pointing at Asta. "You're interesting. Join my squad." Huh. Asta looked surprised. Yami continued, "The Black Bulls. No refusal. Prepare for a brutal experience." "What?" Asta trembled, uncertain of his future. "Then become Wizard King and show me." Yami said. Drake watched Asta, reflecting on his journey. Yami's influence on Asta was immense, going beyond mere strength. Yami was the first to believe in Asta's potential to become Wizard King, a significant encouragement. Despite his rough exterior, Yami had a rare ability to recognize others' potential and future. Drake knew he'd made the right choice joining the Black Bulls. Drake emerged from the spatial portal, his face alight with relief, and grasped the hand of Finral, who followed close behind. Finral Rulacase, a member of a noble family, possessed spatial magic like his relatives. However, he possessed a weak personality, harboring a desire to avoid both inflicting and receiving violence. His grimoire manifested magic born from his own will, thus he could only utilize teleportation magic. His excessive lechery, often interfering with his missions, led to his relegation to the Black Bulls, where he served as Yami's personal errand boy and chauffeur. For Drake, however, Finral, with his mastery of teleportation, was nothing short of a lifesaver, a means to avoid the dreaded experience of using any form of transportation. "Finral Senpai, let's be friends. I'll rely on you for transportation from now on. I simply can't handle it." Finral's forehead twitched, and he exclaimed, "Don't treat your senpai as your personal transportation, you idiot." Yami threw his head back and laughed heartily. "Amazing. You've already become so close to the others. You truly are the talent I expected." "Sounds nice. Count me in as a friend too." Gordon Agrippa mumbled, his voice barely audible. Yami gestured toward a building behind him, its dilapidated state mirroring his own personality. "This is Black Bull's headquarters. Impressive, right? It's a bit run down," Finral commented bluntly. Gordon's response remained unheard. Asta, gazing at the headquarters, said expectantly, "Starting today, all." Before he could finish, Asta dashed towards the entrance. Drake knew what he was going to say. He would begin his journey to become the Wizard King here. Asta flung open the doors, introducing himself in his booming voice. "I'm Asta from Hage Village, joining the Black Bulls." Before he could finish, a fireball erupted from within, sending Asta flying backward. Yami turned, his back to the now burning headquarters, extending a hand. "Welcome to the worst, most terrible Magic Knight squad, the Black Bulls." Asta, picking himself up from the ground, charged towards the door again, undeterred. Not over yet. Drake sometimes marveled at Asta's resilience. He'd been hit by a powerful spell and was completely unharmed, his voice still booming. His thick-headedness was also remarkable. He charged without hesitation despite the attack. Sure enough, as Asta neared the flames, a fireball shot out, sending him flying once more. This, however, dispersed the flames at the entrance, revealing the interior. Alright, I'm pissed. You ready, kid? A small thug wielding a flaming baseball bat shouted. A small boy, with an awkward smile, dodged incoming fireballs, taunting, bring it on. Die. The thug swung his flaming bat, launching a barrage of fireballs at the boy. On a sofa, a woman in only her underwear sat up, rubbing her head. So noisy, drank too much, headache. A small girl, surrounded by cakes, stuffed them into her mouth with both hands. From behind a mirror, a man with a bloody nose said, "You're an angel today, Marie." So noisy, you idiots. A grotesquely shaped fat man exhaled, surprisingly appearing the most composed of the group. Without exception, they all wore black cloaks bearing the Black Bull's insignia. These were the main members of the Black Bulls, notorious problem children. Only Yami could keep them together, resulting in this chaotic daily life. Asta, still undeterred, ran forward, shouting, "I'm Asta from Hage Village. Pleased to meet you all. I will become the Wizard King." The others continued their chaotic activities, completely ignoring Asta's booming voice. Asta's response was another volley of fireballs, sending him flying for the third time. As the chaos threatened to escalate, someone finally intervened. You guys. Yami raised his arm, and terrifying magic power surged forth. Don't break anything. Despite this warning, Yami punched the wall behind him with a powerful blow, causing a massive explosion that sent the entire wall flying. So much rubble flew. Asta's commentary was always perfectly timed. The problem children finally noticed Yami, momentarily stunned before rushing towards him. They surrounded Yami, chattering excitedly. Captain Yami, anyone arrogant? I'll kill them. Captain, duel me today. Full power. Let's ignore these brats and get a drink. Want to try this? It's delicious. Sorry, I'm at my limit. Can I take a break to see my sister? Huff. Ha ha ha, you guys like me that much. Yami's expression suddenly changed, his tone dangerous. But, it's too noisy. Sorry. Everyone immediately knelt. Yami said, bring the newcomers here. He turned, only to see Drake. Asta was nowhere in sight. Drake pointed, Asta was pinned beneath someone. The rescued Asta and Drake stood beside Yami. Yami introduced them. These two brats are the new members. Ah, what were their names again? Asta, ignoring the two part, shouted, I'm Asta from Hage Village. Drake, also from Hage. I hope to get along with all of you, senpais. After their introductions, Yami ordered, hey, introduce the members. The task fell to Finral, the designated errand boy. He introduced each member one by one. First, Gordon Agrippa. Finral pointed to the perpetually gloomy member. Pleased to meet you, Gordon mumbled. Gloomy, but a good person. Next, Vanessa Enoteka. Clingy when drunk, but a good person. The scantily clad redhead protested, I'm not clingy. She approached Drake and Asta. Drake immediately detected the strong scent of alcohol, had she bathed in it. Drake, however, easily ignored her advances, while the innocent Asta was visibly flustered. Hage Village is that remote place. You worked hard to get into the Magic Knights. Big Sister will reward you. As Asta mentally struggled, the still drunk Vanessa reached her limit, vomiting a rainbow. Fortunately, the prepared Drake managed to pull Asta back, preventing a much worse scene. Finral continued, next. Me. Luck Voltia, the most energetic member, raised his hand. Luck Voltia, a battle maniac, but a good person. Luck struck a boxing pose. Like fighting. I love fighting. Want to fight. As Asta struggled to respond to Luck's challenge, a man with hair covering one eye held up a photo. Hey. What do you think? My sister Marie, she's an angel. Yes, Asta replied, seeing the man's bloody nose. The man said darkly, listen, if you lay a finger on Marie, I'll kill you. Finral, as Asta yelped, introduced, Gauche Adlai. Overly attached to his sister, but a good person. Finral pointed to Charmy Papitson, still enjoying her cakes. That's Charmy. A glutton, but a good person. Pleased to meet you. Charmy managed to greet them amidst her cake eating. This is Gray. I don't know much about him, but he's a good person. Hello. Asta awkwardly greeted the silent gray. And Magna swing. A thug, but a good person. Magna's unfriendly glare was visible even through his sunglasses, causing Asta to lower his voice. And then there's me, Finral Rulicase. Very popular. Finral's tone changed. And finally, our Black Bull's captain. Yami Sukahiro. They're all good people. Asta muttered, before being pulled by Drake to bow to Yami. Pleased to meet you, Captain. Yami said nonchalantly, other members are on missions, resting, or slacking off. Get along with everyone. Drake looked at the eccentric group. Their personalities were certainly unique. His future here would be interesting indeed. After the introductions, Yami, puffing on his cigarette, said, normally there's another stage, but these two are fine. Let's skip it. Drake then remembered another reason why the Black Bulls were the least desirable squad for candidates, their unique initiation ritual. Earning that black cloak wasn't easy. Initially, some joined the Black Bulls, only to end up in the capital's hospital the next day. Those who mentioned their experience with the Black Bulls' initiation spoke with gritted teeth, preferring to leave the Magic Knights rather than endure it again. The Black Bulls' initiation wasn't complicated, grueling physical tests and brutal sparring matches. It was likely Yami's invention, becoming a tradition for new recruits. However, it wasn't entirely bad. A full-fledged battle fostered understanding better than prolonged adjustment. Those who passed the initiation integrated faster. The problem was that expecting the Black Bulls' problem children to exercise restraint was unrealistic, accidents were the norm. Magna Swing exclaimed, what tricks did you use to get Captain Yami's approval? Don't try to hide it from me, Magna-sama. Tugging at his cloak, Magna said, this cloak is a symbol of the Black Bull's honor. You can't just wear it. I want it. Asta's mouth opened wide, as if reaching for the cloak. You want it, huh? Magna said menacingly. Then you have to pass my trial. Yami laughed. You're eager to spar with the newcomers. Energetic. My men are great, but underestimating these kids will get you hurt. Everyone looked at Drake and Asta with surprise. Magna was an experienced magic knight, yet Yami favored the newcomers more. These recruits were extraordinary. Asta declared, I understand. I'll pass the trial and get the cloak. Drake said, trial. A fight with a senior member. With all due respect, a fire magic user and I are a poor match, it'll be boring. What? Magna's veins bulged, shouting, are you looking down on me? I'll kill you now. His grimoire opened, and he drew his flaming baseball bat, a giant fireball appearing before him. Die. Magna swung his bat, launching the fireball at Drake. Drake ducked, saying, I'm not underestimating you, Senpai. I respect you, Magna Senpai. The Black Bulls had many talented members, arguably the strongest among the 9 squads. They had several rare underworld mages. Yami, Dark Magic, Noct, Demon Magic, Vanessa, Fate Manipulation, Great Matter Manipulation, Charmy, Unique Bloodline, and Asta, Anti-Magic. But Magna's abilities were the most ordinary. Born a commoner, he lacked immense magic power or special abilities. While he was exceptional compared to average magic knights, in the Black Bulls, ordinary meant behind. However, he possessed incredible perseverance and willpower, eventually developing his own fighting style under the guidance of Zora Ideala. He achieved the miraculous, defeating Dante Zogratis, a demon possessor stronger than a magic knight captain. Drake's respect was genuine, but his comment about a poor match was also true. Magna's giant fireball stopped before Drake's open mouth. It began to shrink, and a swallowing sound echoed. He ate the flames. Everyone stared in shock. Magna himself was stunned. Willpower-infused flames, thank you for the meal. Drake wiped his mouth, giving Magna a thumbs up. A dragon's lungs store flames, its scales dissolve flames, its claws wield flames. This dragon-like physique is the result of Dragon Slayer magic, passed down from dragons, used to combat dragons. Drake explained his magic to the astonished Magna. Amazing. Magna exclaimed. I chose the wrong opponent. Magna was a true man. Drake felt his words were sincere, devoid of jealousy. Ha ha ha. Interesting magic. See. My choice was good. Yami laughed, addressing the others. The others nodded in agreement. Vanessa said, but, dragons, aren't they legendary creatures? Did a dragon teach Drake-kun his magic? Amazing. Drake smiled. Telling others about dragons would only bring ridicule or accusations of madness. Only in the Black Bulls would they believe him so easily. Drake said, I haven't mentioned this yet. I was raised by a dragon until I was 10. What? Everyone was surprised but didn't doubt him. Asta exclaimed, Drake was raised by a dragon. I never knew. Drake smiled. You never asked. Asta realized, that's right. I never asked about Drake's past. Magna turned to Asta. I acknowledge Drake, but you're different. I sense no magic in you. Be prepared, you might die. Asta declared energetically, I know. I'll pass. He drew the Demon Slayer sword, ready for Magna's attack. All right. I'll go all out. Magna retracted his baseball bat, his grimoire turned, revealing an even larger fireball. Fire magic. Exploding inferno magic ball. Magna roared, throwing the fireball with a perfect baseball pitch, faster than before. Asta, remembering the exam, instinctively raised the Demon Slayer sword to block. Bang! The fireball was deflected, hitting Magna and exploding. You fool! Almost died from your own magic. Magna's constitution was good, he'd reduced his magic power before impact. Emerging from the flames, Magna rushed to Asta, placing his hands on his shoulders. You! Scary! 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 Asta trembled. Magna laughed. Impressive. Ha ha ha. He patted Asta's back. You blocked my magic and deflected it. Good job, tiny Asta. It's Asta. Magna ignored him. I'm sorry for mocking your lack of magic. Asta said, I don't have weak magic, I have no magic. Magna didn't mock him. Magicless and you deflected my magic. Even cooler. Everyone gathered. Drake felt their genuine enthusiasm. Here, take these. Magna tossed 2 cloaks. Drake put his cloak on without hesitation. You're Black Bulls now. They cheered. Drake pushed open the door to the Black Bulls headquarters, sighing, it's changed again. The Black Bulls headquarters was a peculiar place, its structure changed daily. One day, there were pillars by the entrance to Drake's room, the next morning, it was an empty corridor. This was the work of Henry Legoland, another Black Bull member. Henry was cursed and could only survive by absorbing others' magic power within the headquarters. He couldn't control his ability and would absorb excessive magic if he got too close, so he remained isolated, a legendary ghost, within the Black Bulls. Henry's magic allowed him to manipulate magically imbued objects, freely assembling and transforming them. The entire Black Bulls headquarters was under his control, explaining the shifting structure. Outside, Drake found an excited Asta. The boy had likely just realized he wasn't dreaming, he'd truly joined the Magic Knights. Drake admired his boundless energy. Drake's own room was dilapidated and dirty, he'd spent a long time cleaning it last night. He'd also written letters to the church, so he'd slept late. Asta likely had too, yet showed no signs of fatigue. Good morning, Drake. It's our first day as Black Bulls. Let's do our best. Drake waved. You're still so energetic. Asta said, Hey, Drake, there's a pillar outside my room this morning. So weird. Just a pillar, don't make a fuss. Magna Swing said, approaching. The headquarters changes constantly. Get used to it. Drake nodded. Magna Senpai, you're giving us a tour, right? Magna boomed, that's right. I'll give you a tour. Follow me. Watching Magna and Asta run off, Drake sighed and followed quickly. This is the dining hall. Only Charmy Papitson was eating, the hall mostly empty. Pointless sighs, Magna commented. This is the bathhouse. Soaking in the hot spring, Drake wondered how they'd ended up bathing during the tour. Perfect temperature, Drake murmured contentedly. Asta said, Drake, you're amazing. I'll endure it too. But it's so hot. Magna declared, this is what Black Bulls men are made of. Gordon Agrippa, who'd appeared silently in the bath, mumbled something inaudible. This is the women's quarters. It's full of traps, you'll be killed if you get close. Drake recognized the deadly traps connected by silk threads. He looked at Magna and Asta, clad only in towels. He understood the traps, necessity. Drake had only managed to put on his pants, his upper body, except for his dragon scale scarf, was still in his hands. This is the restroom. Magna froze. Yami was sitting inside, deep in thought. I'll kill you. A dark aura emanated from Yami. My apologies. This is the game room, for relaxation. Drake looked at the torture devices and doubted Magna's definition of games. This is the beast enclosure. Only glowing eyes were visible in the cages, these weren't friendly animals. Why is this here? Asta trembled. Captain Yami's hobby, Magna explained. You'll be feeding them, Magna instructed. Want to try now? Drake, having lived with Igneel, was interested. Compared to Igneel, these beasts were small. With a piece of meat, Drake confidently approached a cage. A large mouth snapped at his arm. Drake didn't get angry but smiled, petting the beast. Good boy, you were hungry. But, Drake's eyes changed, flames enveloped his arm. That hurts, you fool. He punched the beast on the head. Whimper. The beast's eyes swirled, and it collapsed. Drake shook his hand, surveying the cages. The other beasts quieted, sitting obediently. Drake nodded. Good children. He gave Magna a thumbs up. Leave them to me. Magna mirrored the gesture. You're amazing, Drake. I trust you. Magna quickly showed them the headquarters. On the lowest level, they encountered a girl in a black bull's cloak. She had silver hair in twintails, seemingly Drake's age. She seemed like a proud peacock. It was Noel Silva, the third Black Bull recruit that year. Drake realized this world had many Tsuneres. Noel, Charlotte. They were all masters of saying the opposite of what they felt. Noel was a textbook Tsunere, as was her brother, Nozel Silva, captain of the Silver Eagles. He was clearly overprotective of his sister but acted cold and dismissive. Tsunere behavior seemed to be a Silva family trait. Magna introduced Noel. Asta, wanting to befriend his fellow recruits, approached. I'm Asta, a new recruit. Pleased to meet you. Snap. Noel slapped away Asta's hand. Don't talk to me, you magicless commoner insect. There it was, Noel's signature Tsunere behavior. This sharp-tongued girl was unusually unconcerned with class differences. Her harsh words likely masked insecurity about her low magic control, a habit she developed over time. Drake watched Noel unleash magic, intending to hit Asta but accidentally hitting Magna instead, and came to this conclusion. It's been 3 days since joining the Black Bulls. Keeping a diary feels unprofessional, but I'll use it as practice for my research notes. Noel had another magic power surge. Asta saved her. Her gaze toward Asta has changed since then. Tsunere things, Waiting for her confession is less likely than waiting for Asta, that block of wood, to figure things out. Surprisingly, Noel's magic power is not only immense but also different from others. The Clover Kingdom's magic power was plundered from the elves 500 years ago. Could Noel's unique magic be related? Is magic hereditary? This differs from what Igneel taught me. Magic might be different in these two worlds. This is a topic worth researching. Fortunately, the headquarters has a library. I don't know who left it, but it has research materials on magic power. I've struck gold. My research will be much easier. Unsurprisingly, the library was covered in dust. The Black Bulls aren't known for their love of reading. I've gotten used to life in the Black Bulls. I'm feeding the beasts, so Asta handles other chores. I feed the beasts, read, and train. It's not bad. My first mission should be coming soon. Drake closed his diary, putting the pen in the inkwell. Diaries are private, secrecy is essential. Drake writes in Chinese characters, ensuring no one can understand it. That's how he keeps it safe. From his window, he saw Yami and Magna leaving, looking determined. Drake felt a sense of foreboding, but he knew what they were doing. The next morning, Asta leaned against a wall. I've been cleaning and doing laundry, it's like being back at the church. I don't understand the Magic Knight's work. Drake, what do Magic Knights do? Drake tossed me to the obedient beasts. Magic Knights investigate unusual occurrences, hunt monsters, and fight invaders. Normal missions are assigned by the captain, only major missions come from the Wizard King. Just wait. But Magic Knight missions require combat, so use this time to get stronger. Asta smiled. You know everything, Drake. Drake paused, turning to another direction. I've been wondering, Noel, why are you here? Noel, the noblewoman, had been there since they arrived. Noel tossed her hair. I'm royalty, you should be grateful I'm here. Any objections? Stare. Drake looked at Noel and Asta. Noel blushed. What's with that look? Drake waved his hand. You're royalty, but being straightforward isn't so bad. Noel looked away, as if ignoring him. They heard voices from the corridor. Ha ha ha, that old man got a royal flush. Unbelievable. He's amazing. Can't beat Sek Ojasan. Burdens make people strong. The two approached, revealing themselves. Yo. Drake, Dumb Asta, Noel, were back. Magna greeted them cheerfully. Noel blushed, turning away. They were completely naked except for their cloaks and grimoire belts, looking like they'd been robbed by the most ruthless bandits. Drake had thought, losing your pants, was a figure of speech, but it was literal. After getting dressed, they recounted their thrilling mission. Magna said, "Your first Magic Night mission is here." Drake propped his chin on his hands. In short, the captain and Magna lost a card game to the village chief of Soshi village, the bet being a favor. We're getting rid of wild boars, right? Magna laughed. You're sharp, Drake. You understood perfectly. Asta raised his hand. I have a question. This doesn't concern us, right? Yeah. Noel nodded. You and the captain lost. So. Magna exploded. You idiots. Does Captain Yami clean up his own messes? This made perfect sense. Question marks appeared above Asta and Noel's heads. Magna declared, we clean up the mess. Yami, exhaling smoke, stood. Do it, or die. Choose. We'll do it. ×2. Asta and Noel agreed quickly. The mission to remove the wild boars fell to the three Black Bulls rookies, Drake, Asta, and Noel, with Magna as their senior. The question was how to get to Soshi village. Finral's spatial magic was the best option, but can't do it. Finral refused. Magna said, what do you mean, you can't? Idiot. Finral pushed Magna's face away. I can only teleport to places I've seen. I can't teleport to unknown locations. Magna looked at Finral. Useless. Let's fly on brooms. Asta raised his hand. Magna Senpai, I have something to say. Go ahead. Asta said, I can't use a broom. Noel raised her hand. Me too. Noel. Same. Noel showed no shame. Drake raised his hand. Drake. Magna's anger intensified. Same. Magna exploded. What's wrong with you three? This is basic, you idiots. Asta said proudly, I have no magic power, ha ha ha. Why so proud? I can't control my magic, it's obvious. Idiot. Noel stated. Why so smug? Magna was close to breaking. Drake said, I can't handle any form of transportation. Even Drake. Magna was speechless. Use my trusty steed. Steed. Crazy cyclone. Magna pointed to an enormous magic broom, its original form barely recognizable except for the broom handle. It was adorned with a bull skull, bones, red leather, and a black bull's flag. Noel called it tacky. Drake also disliked the broom's appearance, it was transportation, something he couldn't handle. Drake sighed, opening his grimoire. I'll follow on foot. You take the lead, Magna Senpai. Magna was relieved. Carrying two people was already difficult. Adding Drake would be too much. Watching the three fly precariously, Drake used his magic. Fire Dragon's flame wings. Giant flame wings sprouted, carrying him into the air, catching up to the others. This spell appeared in his grimoire after his broom experience, showcasing his transportation woes. Drake really wanted to tell the three to pay attention to their flight safety, they were acting recklessly at such a high altitude. Fortunately, they arrived at Soshi village without incident. Soshi village, also in the outer region, was as impoverished and remote as Hage village. In midair, Drake narrowed his eyes, turning to the others. Magna Senpai, something's below. Let's check it out. He landed, using his flame wings. Magna grumbled, I'm the senior, I decide the course of action. He followed Drake down. They landed, and Drake examined something on the ground. Magna asked, what is it, Drake? Did you find something? Drake showed them something in his palm. Asta said, puzzled, it's just a piece of ice. What's so strange? Drake held a small piece of ice, more scattered on the ground. Noel was speechless at Asta's lack of observation. Idiot Asta, it's impossible to have ice this time of year. Asta slapped his forehead. That's right. So what's this ice? Magna's expression turned serious. It's magic. Someone used ice magic here. Drake nodded. Exactly. And they're skilled. The lingering magic power is significant, the mage must be strong. Asta still didn't understand. So, what's the problem? Noel knocked Asta on the head. Use your brain, idiot. A powerful, unknown mage wouldn't appear here without reason. What's their purpose? Magna's face darkened. That's near Soshi village. Drake said, let's check Soshi village. Our mission isn't urgent. Magna, decisive, was about to go, but Drake stopped him. You used a lot of magic power carrying Asta and Noel. A fight would be bad. Recover first. Magna understood and sat down to recover. Drake did the same. Magic power is life and soul. Natural recovery is slow without recovery magic. But willpower is also a source of magic power. Magna recovered quickly. He rushed towards Soshi village, recounting his past with the village. It was a story of a boy, guided by a wise elder, finding his purpose and changing his life. Besides Captain Yami, Sek Ojisan is the person I respect most, Magna said sincerely. They reached Soshi village, seeing it enveloped in a gray mist. A fog-type barrier spell. It blocks perception. Entering blindly would lead to being controlled, Drake assessed. Magic. Magna grabbed Asta's collar. Asta, use your sword to cut through the fog. Asta said, I don't understand, but I'll do it. He drew the demon slayer's sword, cutting through the fog, revealing the surroundings. Magna, having grown up here, knew the village well. He could find his way even with limited visibility. Asta cleared a path, and they reached the village center. Their magic sense returned. Not good. Flames enveloped Drake's hands, startling the others. He launched a combined attack. Fire Dragon's Blazing Inferno. The flames dispersed the fog, revealing the scene. Dozens of villagers, old and young, knelt in terror and despair. Sharp ice spikes hovered above them. Drake's magic targeted the spikes. The flames destroyed the spikes, easing the villagers' fear. The Black Bull's cloaks reassured them. Magna's expression darkened. He saw Sek, the village chief, lying among the villagers. The old man was unconscious, his clothes bloodstained, lifeless. A child cried, the Magic Knights. They saved us. Magna went to Sek. Hey, old man, snap out of it. Village chief. He protected us. The villagers showed the old man's worth. Seki's grandson cried, Grandpa, the Magic Knights came. Your prayers were answered. Rage almost consumed Magna. He addressed a group of people. You did this. A scarred man sat impassively, wearing a blue-gray robe and holding a pocket watch. 3 others, similarly robed and hooded, stood behind him. He looked at his watch. Execution was scheduled for 10 seconds. You disrupted my plan. In 10 seconds, everyone dies. Ice spheres with spikes appeared, hurtling towards them. Before Drake could act, Asta intervened, cleaving the spheres in 2. Angry, Asta said, why did you do this? Who are you? Drake knew the answer. The man belonged to the Eye of the Midnight Sun, a group aiming to overthrow the Clover Kingdom. The first antagonists had appeared. Drake looked at Sek, his eyes blazing. His memories were blurry. He remembered the protagonists' triumphs but overlooked the tragedies. If he'd been more mindful, he could have prevented Seki's death. His worldview and Igneel's teachings made him despise those who disrespected life. I am burning with rage. I'll burn these fools to ashes. We've never heard of Magic Knights coming here before. It must be an unscheduled mission. And how did you break through our fog barrier? The 3 minor antagonists chattered, proving the adage, villains die from talking too much. They revealed much without Drake's prompting. They had undisclosed connections with high-ranking Magic Knights, allowing them to know mission details. The man with the pocket watch said coldly, the Black Bulls, the uncouth heretics of the Magic Knights. Fighting you is a waste of time. 5 minutes. Kill these useless villagers and find what we need. Don't ignore me. Asta, fed up, charged forward. Fog magic. Illusory fog vortex. A minor antagonist released a dense fog towards Asta. You think you can approach Heath easily? Foolish mortal. Get lost in the fog. They even revealed their leader's name. Were they so confident? The magic was impressive, natural fog magic with mental effects. An unprepared mage might lose their fighting ability. Unfortunately, their opponent was Asta. This outward magic was ineffective. Who would get lost? Asta's blade dispelled the fog, and he charged through. This revealed Asta's abilities, eliminating the element of surprise. Asta didn't attack but asked Heath, why kill the villagers? Heath exhaled, standing to face Asta. This country is divided into regions, the royal capital for the king and nobles, the commoners' district, and the outer region. Soshi village is in the outer region. Most residents have only basic magic for daily life, they're like useless beasts. I'm eliminating potential obstacles. You have the magic power to join the Magic Knights. You're here because of a mission, don't you also see them as insignificant? As Asta prepared to retort, a crimson figure flew past. Fast. Heath's icy expression finally changed. A flaming fist slammed into Heath's face, sending him flying. Drake remained in his striking pose. Drake, his expression serious, said, I'm tired of your clichés. Shut up before I smell your putrid stench. Heath's words triggered more memories of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. While Patry created the Eye of the Midnight Sun to revive the elves, only Patry and the three members were elf reincarnates. The others were ordinary human mages, many fervent fanatics. Their belief wasn't in a god but in the supremacy of magic power. They believed magic power was the only measure of a person's worth, considering the magic weak as scum. They joined because Patry promised a world ruled by magic power. Heath was their representative. They were also joined by those who resented the Clover Kingdom. A rebellion was born. Patry later sacrificed them for his reincarnation ritual. Then, Patry was betrayed by Zagrid. Drake had no patience for these fanatics. Heath, supported by a crumbling wall, pushed away his subordinates, furious. Why? Why would someone with your power side with those beasts? Drake said coldly, I said your stench is unbearable. If you think the strong can kill the weak. Flames erupted from Drake, forming a roaring dragon behind him. My magic surpasses yours, you should simply fall. Heath wiped his blood, his face contorted. You chose the wrong path. You'll disrupt our plan, you must die here. You can't win here. Heath and his subordinates unleashed their magic. The three minor antagonists released dense fog, engulfing the square. Ice spikes formed within. Ice fog composite magic. Infinite ice shard barrier. The ice spikes fell, new ones formed constantly. Asta swung his sword, deflecting the initial spikes toward Heath. Ice dispel. The spikes turned to fog before reaching Heath. He was skilled in magic control. That sword dispels and deflects magic. But you only have one sword, you can't protect everyone. No. Asta realized the villagers were also under the spell. Heath exploited their weakness. Protecting civilians was a Magic Knight's priority. Fire Dragon's wing beat. Exploding scatter shot magic ball. Drake and Magna attacked, shattering the ice spikes above the villagers. Asta deflected the spikes. Drake frowned. In the original timeline, without him, and with a weakened Magna, how had they protected the villagers before Noel mastered defensive magic? Drake looked at Heath, had he increased the magic's power and scale? He wasn't aiming to kill them but to drain their magic power. Attacking Heath directly was impossible, even a moment's distraction would cause villager casualties. Noel, it's up to you. Drake said. Noel, it's up to you. Drake shouted. What? Noel pointed at herself, incredulous. But I can barely control my magic. Believe in yourself. Drake incinerated a dozen ice spikes with flames from his hands. Magic is a miracle born from the heart. If you believe, you can do it. Look around you. Is this the time for doubt? You're royalty. Show me some royal spirit. Noel looked back and saw a frightened little girl clinging to her clothes. Sister, save me. The fear that had plagued Noel vanished, she saw a girl needing help. She had no time for doubt. So noisy. I'm royalty, I don't need your lectures. Her grimoire opened, and new text appeared. This is my new magic. Noelle's face was determined as she activated her magic. Water creation magic. Sea Dragon's Cradle. A wave of water rose from the ground, forming a protective dome over the villagers. The ice spikes struck the water, creating ripples but unable to harm the villagers inside. Drake looked up, smiling. See, you could do it. Now I can deal with that fool. And me. Asta's expression was serious. I won't forgive him. Drake looked into Asta's eyes. Of course. Only you can show how wrong he is. Magna clenched his fists. You two are men. But don't forget your senpai. Leaving everything to the rookies. I'd lose face with Captain Yami. And I have a score to settle with this guy. The three moved out of Noel's protective dome. Heath checked his watch. This magic power, troublesome. You're wasting my time. Noel's new magic had disrupted his plan, he couldn't use the villagers as hostages. Black bulls. You think you can defeat me? Naive. Heath said coldly, his grimoire turning. Heath gestured, sharp ice pillars appeared behind him, rapidly growing and aimed at the trio. Piece of cake. Asta cleaved the pillars in two with a single swing of his sword and closed in on Heath with incredible speed. Heath spread his hands. Fog rapidly solidified into two ice spikes aimed at Asta. Exploding Inferno Magic Ball. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. The ice spikes extended too quickly. Asta wouldn't be able to react in time, but Magna and Drake's support arrived. Their flames shattered the spikes, clearing the path for Asta. Thanks. Asta swung his Demon Slayer sword at Heath. Not a chance. Heath shouted, creating a wall of ice, impaling Asta and sending him flying. Magna groaned, that guy's magic casting speed is unnatural. Drake nodded in agreement. Heath's magic formation speed was too fast, that scale of ice creation magic couldn't be completed in an instant. Besides the possibility of Heath being a powerful mage at the captain level, there was only one other explanation. Drake looked at Heath's three subordinates. The problem is them. Their composite magic isn't simple. Then, Magna created a giant fireball. Exploding fireball. Magna's fireball dispersed into smaller fireballs targeting the three. An ice wall appeared, blocking the fireballs. The fireballs shattered the wall but dissipated. Not that easy, Magna said, unsurprised. He'd anticipated this. The minor antagonists, fog magic likely accelerated Heath's spellcasting. Heath wouldn't let them be easily defeated. Drake cracked his knuckles. Let's break through. Energetic, Drake. Magna exclaimed. I won't lose. Asta, keep up. Yes. Asta gripped his sword tighter. Charge. ×3. They moved simultaneously, forming a battle formation. Foolish brats. You think you can break my magic? Drake couldn't recall Heath's strength from the original timeline, he was unexpectedly powerful. Ice rapidly spread from Heath's feet. The temperature plummeted, ice formed on Noel's magic. Ice spikes erupted around the three, creating a deadly landscape. Fire dragons blazing inferno. Drake stopped, his flames melting the surrounding ice. He shattered and melted the ice spikes in their path. The flames hit a thicker ice wall, shattering it but not harming Heath. Drake hadn't aimed to defeat Heath directly, his goal was to clear a path. Asta and Magna didn't stop, trusting Drake's judgment. Dirty fools, stay back. Heath raged, creating more ice pillars. You're the dirty one. Asta cleaved the pillars with his Demon Slayer sword and reached Heath. Heath's face contorted, he used all his magic power. Impossible. I won't lose to you trash. Ice spikes shot at Asta like bullets. You're finished. Magna wouldn't let Asta be impaled, he poured all his magic into his next spell. Exploding fireball. Instead of throwing it, Magna slammed the fireball into the ice spikes, shattering them. Heath tried to cast magic but found the fog dissipating. He saw Drake sending his subordinates flying. Asta raised his black greatsword. You called the magic weak villagers beasts, but I have no magic. Even so, I will become. The greatsword slammed into Heath's shoulder, severing his magic power with its anti-magic. The intense pain knocked him unconscious. Wizard King. Asta declared, wielding the Demon Slayer sword. Drake regretted not having a photographic memory. If he'd remembered the plot details, this wouldn't have happened. After defeating Heath, Drake had carefully checked. His magic power and body were completely sealed. They planned to take him back to the Magic Knights and extract more information. Unexpectedly, Heath had implanted a magical device in his body, activating a self-destruct spell even with his magic sealed, leaving no corpse behind. Drake doubted they would have gotten any information even if Heath had lived. Aside from whether Heath knew more, the Eye of the Midnight Sun had a powerful ally within the Magic Knights. William Vengeance, a Magic Knight captain considered the closest to becoming Wizard King, was the leader of the organization aiming to overthrow the kingdom. The dual soul situation was unbelievable. His appearance, magic, even his grimoire were different, it was understandable that he wasn't suspected. Seeing the villagers' renewed spirits, Drake felt some relief. This was why he'd only is hefted instead of personally defeating Heath. Heath's words were twisted prejudice, yet reflected the world's prevailing view, even believed by the villagers. Only Asta, lacking magic power, could defeat Heath and restore the villagers' belief in their own potential. Saving hearts is far more difficult and important than saving lives. The magic stones fell into their hands. These were forbidden magical tools from the elves 500 years ago, the reason for Heath's attack. They were delivered by Seker Swallowtail, the first Wizard King's attendant, transformed into a magic avoidance bird due to forbidden magic. Seker, guarding Asta's 5-leaf clover grimoire, had been following Asta. Drake knew this. She couldn't speak due to the seal, so Drake ignored her. Asta finally noticed the bird, now named Nero, who openly perched on his head. Their first mission was completed. They returned to headquarters and reported to Captain Yami. Yami, despite his casual demeanor, understood the gravity of the situation, a problem within the Magic Knights, immediately reporting it to the Wizard King. There was no reply by Drake's vacation, but he believed the investigation continued. Drake couldn't accuse vengeance, no one would believe him, and his source would be questioned. He had to wait for a better opportunity. Worrying about this during his vacation was too stressful. For protecting the villagers, the Wizard King awarded the Black Bulls a star. Stars are given for achievements, signifying a squad's strength. The Golden Dawn had the most stars, 70. The Black Bulls were last, with -30 stars, after receiving 1. This was proof of their misdeeds. Drake saw Asta's shock at the gap between him and Yuno. Afterward, it was payday, followed by a 2-day vacation. Drake, like Asta, kept some money for expenses and sent the rest to the Hage village church. Without his hunting, the church would struggle. Yuno likely sent his pay as well, supplementing their funds. Drake planned to visit the library but encountered Asta and Noel. Vanessa was taking them shopping in the capital. Drake joined out of curiosity. Vanessa took them on brooms. Drake used his magic. They quickly reached the capital. Their last visit was during the entrance exam. This time, they could explore, with Vanessa as their guide. Why are you so surprised, Noel? Drake asked. Noel blushed. So noisy. I'm royalty. I wouldn't be here. Drake looked around. Royalty and nobles wouldn't be in such a place, especially Noel, who'd never been to the black market. Vanessa had taken them to the black market. While illegal, the transactions weren't extreme. In the Clover Kingdom, only nobles engaged in legitimate commerce. The royal family, to maintain their rule, heavily restricted transactions involving magical tools. Commoners and impoverished mages gathered in the black market. It was chaotic but might have unique items. The royals, unconcerned, allowed it to exist. Without Vanessa, Drake couldn't have found the black market hidden by magic. Vanessa, unlike Drake's expectations, didn't seek free drinks but guided them. Drake came for the black market. It supposedly held ancient magical tools. He found an unknown mage's research notes, among ordinary books, at a low price. He had his eye on another magical tool but couldn't afford it. Still, he was satisfied. Around a corner, Drake saw a familiar face. Sek. He wore a green magic knight cloak, a member of the Green Mantis squad. This was Sek Bronziza, who'd planned to use Asta as a stepping stone during the entrance exam. His peculiar speech made him memorable. In the original timeline, despite being defeated by Asta, he passed the exam. He joined the Green Mantis squad, even without fighting Asta. Sek looked dejected, having lost a card game. The old woman across from him said, "I can see the future." Drake's pupils constricted. For anyone else, it would be a lie, but not for her. She was the old woman selling grilled snake skin during the entrance exam, the 28th Wizard King, Julius Novachrono, whose time magic allowed him to see the future. The Wizard King was using magic to win money from his subordinates. Asta's opinion of the Wizard King might change if he knew. A designated mission. Drake pointed at himself, incredulous. He couldn't understand why the Wizard King had chosen him. While Drake intended to participate, the lack of explanation made him uneasy. His only interaction with the Wizard King had been in the black market. Drake hadn't revealed the Wizard King's identity, and he hadn't even used magic when a thief stole the Wizard King's package. Second, Asta had apprehended the thief. The Wizard King, a magic enthusiast, shouldn't have noticed him. Yet, the Wizard King designated 2 people for this mission, Asta and Drake. Unlike Asta, who was excited about the Wizard King's attention, Drake felt uneasy. However, after setting off, Drake understood. He'd underestimated the Wizard King's abilities. Julius Nova Chrono was not only powerful but also adept at identifying and nurturing talent. He'd promoted Yami and Vengeance. Yami had said Julius saw things differently. Drake knew he was unique, his Dragon Slayer magic and world magic were unprecedented. It wasn't surprising that he'd attracted the Wizard King's attention. The Wizard King often gave dangerous yet important missions to promising individuals, allowing for rapid growth. This mission fit the bill, exploring the Magic Palace. The Magic Palace was an ancient tomb containing artifacts, lost ancient magic techniques or powerful magical tools. This world focused on grimoire development. Research into magic theory and magical tool creation were stagnant or regressing. The Diamond Kingdom might be an exception, ruled by magic scholars. Modern magical tools were less diverse and powerful than ancient ones, sometimes capable of changing civilization levels. An undiscovered magic palace held significant potential. The artifacts were valuable for research or weaponry. Ancient civilizations often protected these artifacts with magic traps. Exploration was usually done by the Magic Knights. This magic palace was located on the border of the Clover and Diamond Kingdoms. The danger came from both internal traps and potential encounters with Diamond Kingdom mages. The Diamond Kingdom wasn't a friendly neighbor, its resources were limited, leading to militarism. The resource-rich Clover Kingdom was a target. Clashes were frequent. A major Magic Knight task was fighting the Diamond Kingdom's army. The Diamond Kingdom wouldn't miss this opportunity and would send people to explore the Magic Palace. Defeating them was part of the mission. This mission wouldn't be given only to rookies. Besides Drake, Asta, and Noel, Yami assigned Luck Voltia as the leader. Luck possessed immense thunder magic, adaptable to various environments. He had exceptional magic power perception, the strongest in the Black Bulls, making him ideal for detecting enemies and traps. Only he was suitable for this mission. If not for his personality, Luck would be highly sought after. His laughter was terrifying. Asta and Noel finally understood how troublesome their senpai was. Finral teleported them to the border, where they found the Magic Palace. Initially, Luck was reliable, finding the entrance in the dark passage. The Magic Palace was awe-inspiring, with altar-like structures. The internal water system still functioned after countless years. No lighting was needed, luminous particles illuminated the palace. These were mana particles, visible due to their high concentration. The mana concentration was so high that space itself was distorted. The interior was larger than it appeared from outside, like a small city. Drake marveled at the mana. Abundant mana aided magic power growth, but excessive mana burdened the body. The Magic Palace's mana concentration was extreme. Drake sensed mana fluctuations throughout the palace, like countless vortices on a calm lake, magic traps. Luck likely sensed them too. Asta pounded the ground, lamenting his inability to sense mana. He was standing on a trap. A giant earth wall rose. Asta jumped back. Asta's 5-leaf clover grimoire opened. He used the Demon Slayer sword to cleave the wall. Drake now understood the trap's mechanism, preset magic activated by external stimuli. The traps themselves weren't remarkable, but the sealing techniques were intriguing. Drake wanted to study them. While Drake studied a trap, Luck pushed Asta onto another trap. He wanted to see the Demon Slayer sword's abilities but went overboard. He triggered more traps, including one in front of Drake. Luck's laughter and the constant magical attacks left the three exhausted. Following this guy, we'll die. Even Drake thought. Luck finally stopped, and Asta, having dispelled all the magic traps, was exhausted. Luck hadn't forgotten their mission. He'd been using his magic power perception since entering the palace, and it had reached its limit. He'd gotten the feedback he wanted, and his expression turned serious. As expected, others are here. The strongest is Thunder Creation Magic, Thunder God's Boots. Thunder enveloped Luck's legs, forming thunder boots below his knees. This magic enhanced his abilities. I have something to do. Conquer the palace yourselves. Before they could respond, Luck turned into a streak of lightning and vanished. What the hell? Noel exclaimed. Drake opened his grimoire. Others have entered, and they're not hiding their magic power. Drake sensed a strong magical presence, like a bright light, in the palace. Flame wings appeared behind Drake. It's someone from the Diamond Kingdom. I'll support Luck Senpai. Asta and Noel, continue exploring. Asta said, I'll help Luck Senpai. Drake refused. No. They wouldn't reveal themselves without a plan. Others must be here. Their goal is the artifacts. You must reach them first, or we fail. Only Asta can quickly traverse the palace. Luck Senpai is my responsibility. Drake pursued Luck. With Asta's Demon Slayer sword, they could ignore the traps. After several passages, Drake heard thunder and explosions, Luck fighting. The opponent was formidable. Drake arrived to see two figures facing off. A middle-aged man in Diamond Kingdom attire saw Drake. Oh. That magic power, a terrifying young man from the Clover Kingdom. Drake didn't underestimate him. The man in the yellow suit had single-handedly defeated the entire protagonist group, and this man was equally dangerous. You're the terrifying one. You're a magic warrior praised by the Wizard King. You're Lotus Womps from the Abyss, Drake stated. A young man who knows me. You're dangerous, powerful and knowledgeable. Lotus's languid expression didn't change, but his tone held a hint of surprise. Lotus's magic wasn't overwhelmingly powerful, he relied on strategy. He disliked calm, cautious opponents who knew his abilities. Drake hadn't revealed Lotus's identity to show off, he wanted to warn Luck that this wasn't an easy opponent. He miscalculated. Luck was excited. Really? You're strong. Let's have an all-out fight. Luck charged, aiming a flying kick at Lotus. Boom. Luck didn't hit Lotus, he shattered a wall. He looked back at the smoke, he'd passed through it but missed Lotus. Lotus emerged, adjusting his collar, revealing a long scar on his chest. That cloak, you're Yami Sukahiro's subordinates. I was taught a lesson by him. His fighting style is unique, I've only lost to him. Fire Dragon's iron fist. Flames burst through the smoke, shattering nearby rocks. You're too strong, you've never lost, Drake stated. The smoke condensed around Lotus, like a coat. Drake's attack missed. Troublesome magic. Drake frowned. Lotus's smoke-weakening magic wasn't powerful but versatile and tricky. Drake, don't interfere. He's my opponent. Luck, unwilling to let Drake take his opponent, charged with more intense thunder magic. Suddenly, Luck slowed, staggering. Too slow. Lotus released more smoke, enveloping Luck. Luck's eyes lost their light, he collapsed. Welcome to the Abyss's end. The Abyss was a state of inescapable suffering. Lotus's magic, like a bottomless pit, earned him this title. Lotus stroked his beard. This space is covered by my magic, faint smoke, invisible to the naked eye. Smoke weakening magic, encroaching smoke garden. Lotus remained in place. I minimized my magic power to avoid detection, during my subordinates' fight. But. He looked at Drake, who stood before Luck. Why are you unaffected? My subordinates were defeated for nothing. Drake explained, knowing your magic is smoke, preparing for invisible smoke is natural. Drake's flames hadn't extinguished, Lotus's magic couldn't penetrate. Lotus chuckled. Young people are terrifying. Targeting an old man like me. I'm going to cry. The smoke thickened, he was serious now. Drake braced himself, hearing thunder behind him. Luck, always smiling, seemed incapable of sadness or anger. His smile was now twisted. This was the true, terrifying Luck. This is interesting. Luck vanished as Drake turned. Drake only saw a streak of lightning pass Lotus. Lotus wiped his face, looking at Luck. Luck was more beast than man, with thunder armguards and claws, and sharpened toes. Troublesome. I don't want to cut down a precious seedling, Lotus said. Luck, now equipped with armguards, wasn't merely enhanced, he was significantly strengthened. Drake even sensed a partial magical transformation of Luck's body. Luck unleashed a chaotic network of lightning, aggressively attacking Lotus and seemingly overpowering him. However, each attack only dispersed the smoke, never hitting Lotus. Lotus's smoke magic seemed to obscure or distort perception, allowing him to move quickly within the smoke, making him virtually impossible to hit. Despite his rage, Luck maintained his battle acumen. He realized he needed to dispel the smoke. Thunder magic. Swift thunder's shattering orb. Luck hurled a thunder orb. The air crackled with ozone, dispersing some of the smoke. Got you. Targeting the revealed Lotus, Luck lunged with his lightning-enhanced claws. You can move freely with a burst of magic power, but you haven't broken free of my magic. Lotus was initially surprised by Luck's enhanced speed and perception, but he soon relaxed. Luck hadn't escaped the magic's effects, creating an opening. Luck thought he'd caught his prey, but he'd fallen into a trap. Smoke creation magic. Smoke binding cross prison. Solid smoke enveloped Luck, forming a giant cross. I caught him, but this is exhausting. If that young man had surrendered, I'd be grateful. A gust of wind, followed by scorching heat, ruffled Lotus's clothes. Flames erupted, striking the smoke cross. Luck, cooperating, burst free. Luck looked at Drake. To defeat him, I must keep winning. Drake smiled. Luck senpai, that's selfish. Such a good opponent can't be yours alone. We're partners, let me join the fun. Luck's twisted smile softened. Yeah, winning together is fun. Drake couldn't read Luck's mind, but he sensed a change in his demeanor, which was enough. Fighting with Luck senpai, I'm fired up. Drake's fists collided, flames igniting. They charged at Lotus, becoming streaks of fire and lightning. Not good. Lotus opened his grimoire, his expression serious. I'll have to get serious. Fire Dragon's iron fist. Drake's flames collided with the smoke, scattering. Luck's lightning claws were also blocked. They became serious. No longer needing to conserve magic power, Lotus released a massive amount of smoke, filling the space. Smoke creation magic. Degenerate King's smoke prison. Lotus's strength lay in manipulating the environment. In this smoke, he could sense his enemies' movements and move freely, ensuring victory. His enemies would get lost and suffocate. This was a truly hellish magic. Drake didn't remember how Asta defeated Lotus in the original timeline. Asta's lack of magic power had caught Lotus off guard. Drake couldn't replicate that. Luck senpai. Can you go faster? Drake asked, almost taunting. Luck smiled. Of course. They moved simultaneously. Fire Dragon's roar. Drake unleashed a fiery pillar, churning the smoke. He aimed at Lotus's location, but he'd already moved. Drake redirected the pillar, disrupting the smoke. Amazing. Amazing. Luck exclaimed, still his usual self despite his change of heart. My turn. Luck became a streak of lightning, circling the fire pillar. The smoke was magically created and could be disrupted by magic. Drake's magic created an opportunity for Luck to find Lotus. This opportunity was fleeting. Luck had to be faster than Lotus's reaction time. He succeeded. A piece of clothing with bloodstains fell. Lotus touched his wound. Young people are terrifying. What have you done to a frail old man like me? Smoke enveloped him again. Too slow. Luck grumbled. He'd almost pierced Lotus's chest. Drake, again. I'll be faster. Drake nodded, preparing his magic, when the smoke churned. Drake's flames flickered, threatening to extinguish. Luck stopped, bending uncontrollably, gasping for air. Drake felt his breathing becoming difficult. He's not easy, Drake said. This reaction meant Lotus had increased his magic power output. Drake doubted he could cast a powerful spell, and Luck couldn't guarantee sufficient speed. Drake saw Luck's gaze. Amazing. You've surpassed your limits. Flames erupted, burning the smoke a beautiful orange. I can't control the power of this next attack. Don't blame me if you die. Drake shouted. Lotus sneered. Even a powerful attack wouldn't work if it missed. He was confident he could evade it. Dragon Slayer Secret Art. Crimson Blazing Inferno Blade. Drake was engulfed in flames. A giant vortex of fire swept forward. Unlike normal Dragon Slayer magic, this completely incinerated the smoke. Impossible. What magic is that? Lotus dodged, but half his body was exposed. He could return to the smoke in a heartbeat. But in that instant, Luck kicked him in the stomach. Lotus was shocked, not because of Drake but Luck. He couldn't understand how Luck had bypassed his perception and maintained speed despite the lack of oxygen. Drake would have explained. Drake's sudden burst of magic power, coupled with Luck's simultaneous reduction in magic power, had masked their presence. Luck's speed was due to his willpower. Drake's trust in Luck secured their victory. Drake and Luck failed to capture Lotus Womps. The man, a captain-level mage, easily escaped despite his injuries, even taking his defeated subordinates. He hadn't intended a life-or-death battle. His priority was the artifacts in the Magic Palace, guarded by the Diamond Kingdom's most powerful weapons. Drake helped Luck recover his breath. Asta's in trouble, we can't rest. Luck closed his eyes, sensing the intense magical conflict deep within the palace. Besides Noel, there were 4 unfamiliar magical presences, one of which Drake recognized as Yuno's. Yuno had also been sent to explore the palace. The overwhelmingly powerful magical presence was Mars. The Diamond Kingdom was controlled by the magic scholar Morris, who was conducting cruel experiments to create enhanced magic warriors. They selected children with high magic power, trained them through fierce competition, and implanted magic power-enhancing devices. This created powerful warriors. But the Diamond Kingdom wanted emotionless weapons, so they forced these warriors to fight until only one remained, Mars, the perfect weapon. However, Drake sensed his magic power indicated a shattered spirit, caused by killing his childhood friend. They quickly reached the treasure chamber's entrance, where Asta was fighting Mars. Mars, a youth in a fur coat, had 3 gems embedded in his forehead and a large gem on his chest. His grimoire was strange, with 2 different colored covers, seemingly sewn together. He used mineral magic, creating stone golems that held the others back while wielding a massive stone sword against Asta. Asta easily cut the sword in 2. Annoying. Disappear, Pebble. Mars declared. Asta was perfect for this opponent. Even a pebble can shatter diamonds. Asta moved quickly, dodging Mars' attack and striking him, shattering his stone armor and sending him flying. The treasure chamber belongs to the Clover Kingdom's mages. Asta declared. Great job, Asta. Drake patted him. Asta said, surprised, Drake, Senpai, did you finish your fight? Drake nodded. He escaped, but he's injured, he won't be a problem. Yuno approached. Drake said, Yuno, you're a mess. You're Drake, the one who rejected Captain Vengeance for the Black Bulls. Unbelievable. Drake wondered who'd copied Yuno's catchphrase. It was Klaus Lunettes, a man with glasses from the Golden Dawn. This guy, saved by our Asta, is from the Golden Dawn. Who is he? Drake sneered. While he knew Klaus would later change his views thanks to Asta, Drake couldn't tolerate his current attitude. A girl in a Golden Dawn cloak stopped Klaus. Yuno, seemingly oblivious, said, this is Klaus Lunettes, my Golden Dawn senpai. He's reliable. Yuno added this to ease the tension. The girl introduced herself politely. I'm Mimosa Vermilion, Yuno's classmate. Drake, unaware of the Vermilion's royal lineage, said, Mimosa, a pretty name. Please take care of this blunt guy. Of course. Mimosa quickly replied. Yuno-san has always taken care of me. Klaus opened his mouth, likely to criticize Drake's attitude towards royalty, but stopped. Drake understood. Klaus's attitude stemmed from his respect for Vengeance, and his resentment towards Drake for rejecting Vengeance's offer. Asta's battle likely changed his perspective. Klaus restrained Mars with binding magic. Drake picked up Mars' grimoire, crouching beside him. Stop talking nonsense. Don't you feel the magic power from someone else in your grimoire? The person who gave you power cherished your feelings, don't waste their wishes. Mars opened his eyes, startling Asta. What? Do you know? Mars' voice was hoarse. Drake shook his head. What I know matters less than what you remember. Drake placed the grimoire on Mars, unconcerned whether he'd fight again. If he did, Drake was confident he could subdue him. Different flames appeared on the grimoire, not from Mars but seemingly protecting him. Fana. Mars whispered, his gaze distant. Drake, sensing Mars' calmer magic power, was relieved. Next. Asta, the treasure chamber door is magically sealed. Break it with your sword. Asta, trusting Drake, cleaved the door open. Blinding light filled the chamber, countless treasures reflected the light, dazzling them. Even Noel and Mimosa, royalty, hadn't seen this. Asta and Yuno were speechless. Even Drake was awestruck, he'd only seen this on screen. But nothing compared to the real thing. Amazing. Drake's comment was weak, but others nodded, they couldn't find better words. Drake, Asta, and Noel arrived in the capital, not for sightseeing but for a mission. The Magic Palace mission required a detailed report at the Knight's headquarters. After entering the treasure chamber, Drake immediately gave Yuno the most prominent scroll. It contained elf magic, specifically wind magic from Sylph, one of the 4 elemental elves. While only those chosen by the elves could receive their magic, Drake secured it, fearing it might fall into the wrong hands. Elf magic was powerful and could grow with the mage. Drake would have kept it if the element had been suitable. The Demon Slayer sword, originally belonging to Licht, the Elf King, went into Asta's grimoire. It was surprising to find it in the Magic Palace. The remaining items were ordinary magical tools and treasures. Hage Village had obtained the most valuable items from the Magic Palace. Drake had hoped to find ancient magic books but found none. Because Mars hadn't gone berserk, the Magic Palace remained intact. Unexpectedly, Mars was gone. Drake sensed Lotus Womps's magic power. Lotus had likely used concealment magic to reach the treasure chamber, taking Mars after realizing he couldn't obtain the treasures. Using Klaus's steel creation magic, they transported the treasures back, completing the mission. They still needed to report, hence their arrival in the capital. Luck didn't come because of his personality. The knight's headquarters was in the royal capital. If Luck fought a noble or royal, it would be problematic. Yami sent him on a combat mission with Magna. Wow. Whoa. I've never seen such magnificent architecture. Asta's loud exclamations echoed since entering the royal capital. Neither Drake nor Asta had been to the royal capital's inner districts, they were seeing it for the first time. It was a different world compared to the outer districts. As Asta marveled, Drake saw Yuno and his companions approaching. The Black Bulls and Golden Dawn had worked together on the Magic Palace mission, they would be reporting together. Klaus had become more open, approaching Asta to inquire about his injuries. He remained cold towards Drake. Mimosa and Noel whispered. Drake answered Yuno's questions. In the original timeline, Yuno used newly acquired elf magic to save Asta from Mars. Only Drake knew about the elf magic. Drake shared his knowledge. He believed Yuno's talent would allow him to master it quickly. Sylph was known for her beauty and generosity. They reached the Magic Knight's headquarters and saw a richly dressed man. Welcome, young ones. Who's that flashy dude? Asta asked, oblivious to everyone except Yuno and Drake kneeling. Klaus was exasperated and pushed Asta down. You're rude. That's Wizard King Julius Nova Chrono. What? The Wizard King? Asta's eyes widened. Drake looked at Yuno, he had the same expression. The Wizard King's unexpected appearance was due to his interest in unique magic. Hearing about Yuno and Asta's new magic, he'd come. He was disappointed that Yuno couldn't freely use elf magic, surprising everyone. The Wizard King was powerful and knowledgeable, reading the special magical script on the grimoires and the ancient script of the elf magic. After experiencing Asta's Demon Slayer sword, Julius was satisfied. He then answered Asta and Yuno's questions about becoming Wizard King. Unlike vague answers, Julius emphasized achievements, not fame or power but accumulating the strongest achievements. Drake looked at Julius, unable to believe he'd become a more terrifying villain than the Demon King. He couldn't connect the Julius who spoke of achievements with the Lucius who called Asta a world defect. The two major antagonists were both dual-souled, was that repetitive? The Wizard King, to explain achievements, decided to have them attend the Magic Knights Award ceremony. This annual ceremony was for Magic Knights who'd earned enough stars to advance, receiving their new rank from the Wizard King. Magic Knights had ranks, Wizard King at the top, then Grand Magic Knights, equivalent to captains, then upper, middle, and lower rank Magic Knights, each with 5 levels. Most Magic Knights were within these 15 levels. Drake and Asta, despite earning stars, didn't have enough to advance and couldn't attend. Those attending the ceremony had at least 6 stars. This was Julius's guidance. To become Wizard King, their achievements must surpass everyone present. Drake admired Asta's ability to eat so happily despite the situation. He wasn't sure if it was Asta's open-mindedness or his thick-headedness. The Black Bulls and Golden Dawn were invited to the post-ceremony banquet as special guests. The food was delicious, but the atmosphere was far from convivial. The Black Bulls and Golden Dawn were met with disdain, contempt, and even hostility. Lowly commoners. Someone started the venomous taunts. Why would the Wizard King favor such people? What an unsightly eating manner. They have no magic power, conquering the Magic Palace was pure luck. They don't belong here, get out, you rats. These nobles were even more cruel and spiteful than those they'd encountered before. Someone finally intervened, a youth with fiery red hair. Speaking of commoners, doesn't your squad have one? Leopold Vermilion of the Crimson Lion Kings addressed Alecdora Sandler of the Golden Dawn. Alecdora had started the taunts, prompting Leopold's retort. Of the three royal families, Silva, Vermilion, and Kira, Drake favored the Vermilions. Mimosa and her siblings weren't obsessed with status, they possessed genuine nobility. Alecdora glanced at that commoner with a four-leaf clover grimoire, puffed up with pride. Leopold shouted, I could have done better exploring the magic palace. Alecdora retorted, confident. Crimson Lion brat. I didn't expect much from that commoner. We'll achieve Captain Vengeance's Golden Dawn's ideal. With all due respect. Klaus tried to interject but drew Alecdora's ire. And you, Klaus. Aren't you ashamed to be here? Alecdora then turned to Mimosa. And Mimosa, you were injured early in the magic palace. Disgraceful for a Vermilion. Mimosa bowed, apologizing. Oh my. The most useless one. An irritating voice approached. A man in a white cloak said. Noel. Noel's usual haughty expression vanished, replaced by humiliation. You can't even control your magic. Disgraceful. You were exiled by the Silva family, why are you here? Another woman in similar attire added. The two Silva royals stepped back as Drake unleashed flames, pushing everyone back. So noisy. You push me too far. Drake kicked over a table, confronting the Magic Knight's elites. Are all nobles and royals venomous snakes? Show me something that truly proves your nobility. Insolent. Silence. Drake's words only angered Alecdora. Alecdora unleashed sand magic, engulfing Drake. Before Drake could react, someone intervened, Asta, cleaving the sand with his sword. Asta smiled. Drake's right. No matter what you say, watch me. I'll accumulate achievements and become Wizard King. Shut you all up. Silence, then uproar. He said, he'll become Wizard King. Many scowled, unleashing their magic on Asta. Fog binding magic. Fog spider's binding thread. Water binding magic. Sea serpent's coil. A fog spiderweb and water serpents attacked Asta mercilessly. Drake pulled Asta behind him. Fire dragon's iron fist. Flames vaporized the magic. Drake stepped forward, melting Alecdora's sand magic with another flame. This is the magic you boast of, stolen through vile means. You're not superior. Drake sneered. What nonsense. Noel's brother, Solid Silva, raged. Hiding your ugly past. Typical noble behavior. Drake replied. Enough. Solid Silva was stopped by a man with unusual hair, Nozzle Silva, captain of the Silver Eagles. His aura intensified. I don't know what you're saying, but a commoner defaming royalty is unforgivable. Few could withstand Nozzle's magic power. He was sure he hadn't held back, yet the boy only looked serious, showing no discomfort. Nozzle's grimoire glowed, ready to attack, but someone intervened. Stop. Silva family, attacking a youth is shameful. They were invited by Julius Sama, showing a little respect wouldn't hurt. It was Fugolian Vermilion, Leopold's brother. A royal saying that. The Vermilions have become soft. How can a sky eagle respect a ground worm? Nozzle retorted. Silver magic formed an eagle, confronting Fugolian's fiery lion. The door burst open. The capital is under attack. The Clover Kingdom, a powerful magical nation, protects its capital with a powerful magical barrier. This barrier is maintained by royal mages in a 24/7 rotation, making it virtually unbreakable. Infiltration is nearly impossible. Yet, the sounds of unrest in the capital forced everyone to consider what was happening. While everyone pondered reinforcing the defenses of the royal capital, Asta turned and ran outside. Asta never hesitated when it came to protecting people. Drake grabbed Asta, punched through a window, and, with his flame wings, flew out with Asta. Idiot, are you running on foot? I'll take you to someone who can solve this, Drake said. Drake sensed only one person's magic power behind the unrest. A mage was causing the chaos. The capital's unrest was a major event in the original story, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's first appearance. Drake remembered this clearly. Sensing the magic power, Drake quickly located the culprit, Raid Spirito. Seeing the man laughing maniacally and controlling zombies to wreak havoc, Drake knew he'd found the right person. Raid Spirito wore a tattered cloak, red bandages on his face and left arm, and an Eye of the Midnight Sun emblem on his left eye. A truly villainous appearance. Raid Spirito had been a magic knight, joining the Purple Orca squad in first place during the entrance exam. However, his necromancy was deemed forbidden, leading to his expulsion. He came to hate the Magic Knights and the Clover Kingdom. This fueled his joining of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, which gave him a chance for revenge. Drake threw Asta from midair. Asta, wielding the Demon Slayer sword like a whirlwind, sent many zombies flying. Drake landed, creating a ring of fire that incinerated the zombies. Drake called to Asta. That guy's the culprit. Defeating him will stop this. Understood. Asta charged towards Raid Spirito. The Magic Knights are finally here. Raid Spirito exclaimed, his twisted smile widening. TCH. The bottom-ranked Black Bulls. I didn't want to see you. Muddy black substances erupted, releasing numerous zombies. They were fast. This was Raid Spirito's necromancy. He possessed powerful magic, comparable to royalty, infusing it into corpses for control. This explained the unrest. He was a necromantic plague to ordinary magic knights. But his magic had weaknesses. Fire dragons blazing inferno. Drake's flames engulfed and incinerated many zombies. Asta's anti-magic also prevented the fallen zombies from rising again. Don't get cocky. Raid Spirito roared, releasing larger black substances. Two heavily bandaged corpses emerged. These zombies possessed significantly more magic power than the others. They had special abilities. A purple magic orb from one zombie sent Asta flying. The wound bled profusely and expanded. Drake dodged mud from the other zombie. Asta, be careful. That's a cursed attack. You're relaxed enough to worry about others. Raid Spirito taunted. Drake dodged another attack. Mud magic to counter fire magic. Clever, but your luck is terrible. I'm furious. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Intense flames evaporated the zombie's moisture. Drake's fist struck the zombie, causing it to explode and incinerate. Asta drew the Demon Slayer sword, cleaving the cursed magic orbs. He then used both swords, creating a whirlwind to attack the zombies. Now, come at me. Asta shouted. Raid Spirito, enraged by the easy defeat of his creations, went berserk. Me? Are you joking? Controlling corpses is my fighting style. Raid Spirito revealed two new zombies. No. 2 Alfred, number 1 Carl, attack. Alfred, limbless, floated, using thunder magic. Carl protected Raid Spirito with a magic barrier. Thunderbolts struck. Asta and Drake dodged them, their backs touching. They nodded and charged. As they approached, the lightning intensified. Drake slowed, allowing Asta to advance. Asta cleaved the lightning, protecting them as they approached the zombies. Drake, engulfed in flames, soared towards Alfred. Fire Dragon's Claw. He kicked Alfred away, using the recoil to retreat. Asta charged, and they exchanged a high five. Drake unleashed flames from his elbow, spinning and throwing Asta towards Raid Spirito. Asta's sword easily sliced through Carl and the magic barrier. Raid Spirito's reliance on zombies indicated his weak combat ability. With the zombies defeated, he couldn't withstand Asta's sword. Asta knocked him unconscious. Raid Spirito's necromancy ended. But Drake and Asta weren't relieved, a voice echoed. Defeated by Brats. But thanks to you, everyone's in position. Magic Knights, please leave. Spatial magic. Shadow concealment. Drake sensed a massive magical surge, a large-scale spell. The Eye of the Midnight Sun had dispersed the Magic Knights. Next. Drake looked at Fugolian Vermilion, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's true target. Well done. Fugolian Vermilion, a man of unwavering enthusiasm, approached Drake and Asta, clapping them on the shoulders. You two did great. Yami's luck and judgment are always impeccable. Fugolian and Yami were close, pleased that the Black Bulls had gained 2 talented members. His comment on luck referred to Drake choosing the Black Bulls, and judgment referred to Yami choosing Asta. Fugolian addressed Asta. I apologize for underestimating you because of your lack of magic. Young man, you want to be Wizard King. I'm your rival. After Yami, another Magic Knight captain acknowledged Asta's ambition, boosting Asta's spirits. However, Fugolian turned. As a Magic Knight captain, I can't leave everything to rookies. I'll take over. Fire magic. Leo Palma. A giant fiery lion emerged, unleashing a torrent of flames. Fugolian targeted the pile of defeated zombies. The flames incinerated the zombies, but a figure quickly escaped. The figure, perched high up, removed a burning mask, revealing their face. I thought changing my appearance would be noticed. I even wore this dirty disguise. The captain noticed anyway. This person had been disguised as a zombie. He had long scars on both cheeks, extending from his forehead to his chin, and narrow eyes, perfect for a horror movie. This was Valtos, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's spatial magic user, far surpassing Finral in skill. Fugolian said, "You used spatial magic to teleport the magic knights out of the capital." Valtos clapped. "The captain is sharp." Fugolian asked, "If your goal was infiltration, your actions lacked coordination. If not, your organization is well structured. What is your goal?" Valtos smiled. "You, Fugolian." A black void appeared beneath Fugolian, engulfing him. "The mastermind's location. Perfect." Fugolian showed no fear. Drake, who'd been watching, was also transported. Fugolian noticed Drake. "Reckless youth. This battle is dangerous." Drake smiled. "You're reckless for entering a known trap. I'm confident I can help." Fugolian couldn't send Drake back. "Enthusiasm is good, but obey orders. Your loss would be significant." "Understood." Drake looked around. "This is a special magical space, isolating us, but I don't know its other effects." It should have been just Fugolian. "But it's fine, it won't take much effort." A voice made them look up. A man appeared. He was strikingly handsome, with markings near his eyes adding an eerie beauty. He wore a golden dawn cloak. "Who are you?" Fugolian's momentary distraction was exploited. "Danger." Drake kicked away a beam of light aimed at Fugolian. "Oh. You kept up with my magic. I underestimated you." Patry, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader, said. Light magic was rare, powerful, and incredibly fast. If Drake hadn't been prepared, Fugolian would have been injured. Fugolian, sweating, became serious. "My apologies. Four-leaf clover youth, thank you." "You're welcome," Drake said. "Did you sense the opponent's strength?" Fugolian said, "Yes. Powerful. And, light magic. I didn't expect someone like that among the rioters." Fugolian addressed Patry. "Unknown strong one, won't you reveal your name?" Patry said, "We are the Eye of the Midnight Sun, aiming to overthrow the Clover Kingdom. I am Licht. Remember this name, he will be your nightmare." Patry's grimoire glowed, revealing a four-leaf clover symbol. Fugolian became serious. Light creation magic. Sword magic. Numerous light blades shot towards them. Fire magic. Ignis Columnae. Fire dragon's wing beat. Facing the fast, dense attack, they used powerful magic. The flames and light blades collided, scattering. Drake sensed powerful magic behind the flames. Patry's voice echoed. Light creation magic. Bright judgment's whip. The flames were split, a light whip struck. They dodged. The whip retracted, circling Patry. Fire magic. Leo Rugians. Fugolian fired a laser beam. High-temperature flames. They can't compare to true light. Patry intercepted the magic with his whip. Opening. While Patry dealt with Fugolian, Drake, engulfed in flames, approached. Fire Dragon's Claw. Drake's kick missed. A massive explosion rocked the space. Returning to Fugolian, Drake looked up. Patry stood there, unharmed. He'd evaded Drake's attack effortlessly. Drake exhaled. Impressive speed. Capturing him won't be easy. Giving up. Fugolian joked. Drake smiled. Not yet. I'm just getting started. Thanks for watching.